Chapter 946. Yang Ming sat on the sofa downstairs, turned on the TV, and watched the news as if it was his own home. In the local TV station, it was all news related to the haunted case. But in order not to cause panic among the public, the report was very general. It just reminded the public to pay attention to safety when driving at night. Yang Ming changed a few channels, but there was no good program, so just as he was about to turn off the TV, he heard the sound of stairs coming downstairs, accompanied by Wang Xiaoyan's delicate voice. "Yang Ming, isn't your face a bit too big? Do you think this is your own home?" Seeing Yang Ming leaning on the sofa and watching TV like a master, Wang Xiaoyan was depressed again. Yang Ming awkwardly turned off the TV and said, "Am I not bored waiting for you? Just watch TV for a while. Just watch. This is my home. Do you know that? In other people's home are you so casual?" Wang Xiaoyan went downstairs and stared at Yang Ming. "Hey, after tonight it is not certain whose home this is." Yang Ming was a little upset by Wang Xiaoyan, so he replied to her, "What do you mean?" Sure enough, Wang Xiaoyan's eyebrows raised after listening. "Nothing. If you lose, don't you want to be my mistress? Isn't your home my home?" Yang Ming smiled cheekily. "Let's talk about it when you win." Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words and couldn't refute. She had to say, "But if you lose, don't forget what you said. You have to move out tonight." "Well, I will fulfill your wish." Yang Ming narrowed his eyes and smiled slightly. "Your conditions are fair, but you know I have always been a male chauvinist. Why are you telling me this?" Wang Xiaoyan apparently misunderstood Yang Ming's meaning. "I have already said that if you win, I am willing to be your mistress, no matter what your character is." No. Yang Ming said the word no 3 times, shook his head and said to Wang Xiaoyan, "You got it wrong. It's not that you don't like me, but I don't like you." "What do you mean?" Wang Xiaoyan frowned, shook her wet hair and asked with a stare. "The meaning is very simple. I don't like second-hand goods. If you are the original, then I will play with you once. If not, I am sorry, your conditions are not attractive at all." Yang Ming's attention and said faintly, "To Yang." At first she didn't understand Yang Ming's meaning. What original? But after thinking about it, she understood that Yang Ming was referring to whether she was a virgin or not. "I refuse to answer." Wang Xiaoyan said angrily. "Well, since it is like this, I am leaving. I don't need to play with you." Yang Ming said and was about to stand up. Wang Xiaoyan was immediately anxious. She made Yang Ming agree to compete with her. She had just thought of a way to fix Yang Ming. How could she let him go so easily? "Don't go," Wang Xiaoyan said anxiously. "Why don't I go? Seeing you like this, you are definitely not the original. It is meaningless for me to stay here." Yang Ming stood up and walked to the door. "Come back." Wang Xiaoyan shouted angrily, I am still not good enough?" "Yeah, of course you can." Yang Ming held back his laughter and turned around. He showed a look of disbelief. "Am I right? I have to check. What if I am fooled?" Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words. Her lungs were about to explode. "Fuck off. If I say I am, then I am. If you want to check, wait until you win." "Well, then I will believe you this time." Yang Ming nodded with a smile. "When is the competition?" Let's go to the suburbs, a more spacious place." Wang Xiaoyan thought and said, "Let's go now." "Go to the suburbs?" "Well, it is suitable for outdoor sex. I like it." Yang Ming nodded and agreed. Wang Xiaoyan showed her teeth and rolled her eyes at Yang Ming disdainfully. She thought, "You are dreaming. When the time comes, you will know how powerful I am." Yang Ming didn't care. In his eyes, Wang Xiaoyan had become a little lamb for him to slaughter. Compete with the big bad wolf? Isn't this purely looking for food? If I don't eat you today, I am not the big bad wolf. You won't catch a cold like this, right? Yang Ming pointed at Wang Xiaoyan's hair that wasn't dry yet. "Don't find an excuse to say that you caught a cold and didn't perform well when you lose." I never find an excuse. I am afraid that you will find an excuse when you lose." Wang Xiaoyan listened and snorted. "Why would I find an excuse? If I lose, I will just move. What's the big deal? I won't be XX." Yang Ming smiled. "As long as you don't regret it." Wang Xiaoyan sneered in her heart. "Just move. When the time comes, it will be good if I don't break your legs during the competition." Yang Ming didn't say anything. Since Wang Xiaoyan wanted to compete, then let's compete. Who is afraid of who? Out of Wang Xiaoyan's villa, the two got in the car together. Wang Xiaoyan sat in the front passenger seat again. This time she didn't argue. The suburbs were so far away. It was obviously not realistic to walk there. Let's go. After Wang Xiaoyan closed the door, she said to Yang Ming. Yang Ming nodded and started the car. Which suburb are we going to? You better decide first. Otherwise, if I just go there casually and you say that the location is wrong, I won't be able to take it if I don't perform well. Humph, am I such a person? Wang Xiaoyan felt that Yang Ming was really satirizing her credibility and character. Wang Xiaoyan will do what I say. I hope that some people are the same. Then let's go to West Star Mountain. There are fewer people. Yang Ming said, at this time no one should pass by. After Wang Xiaoyan listened, she nodded. Yang Ming was right. No one should pass by West Star Mountain at this time. If we go there, we won't be disturbed. Let's go there. As long as you don't run away, it will be fine. Me? Run away? What a joke. Yang Ming laughed twice and sped up the car. Whether it's a joke or not, we will know when we get there. Wang Xiaoyan didn't show weakness. She was afraid that Yang Ming would regret, so she kept using words to stimulate Yang Ming. How could Yang Ming not understand Wang Xiaoyan's purpose? However, he wasn't angry. He joked with her and it was less lonely on the road. I say, Wang Xiaoyan, we are going to be married soon. We should get to know each other, right? Yang Ming had nothing to do, so he began to talk to Wang Xiaoyan. What little Yan Yan? Disgusting. Wang Xiaoyan's face was red. She was so old, but no boy had called her that. She was angry, but there was a strange feeling in her heart. Disgusting? How come? Do you think your name is disgusting? Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and said, the name is given by the parents. You have no right to choose. Fuck off. Wang Xiaoyan was very angry. She said that Yang Ming called her little Yan Yan disgusting, not that her name was disgusting. However, she couldn't explain it. She knew that Yang Ming was talking nonsense with her, but Wang Xiaoyan couldn't do anything about it. We are still far from West Star Mountain. We have to drive for at least half an hour. Yang Ming continued. What do you want to say? Wang Xiaoyan didn't want to talk to Yang Ming, but she was afraid that if she annoyed him, he would refuse to compete. She had no choice but to say it perfunctorily. Why haven't I seen your parents? Do you live in Songjiang by yourself? Yang Ming was very curious about Wang Xiaoyan's life, so he asked tentatively. Yang Ming's very common words caused Wang Xiaoyan to sigh. After a while, Wang Xiaoyan said, I don't have a mother. My mother left me when I was very young. Originally, Wang Xiaoyan didn't want to say these words to Yang Ming, but she didn't want to make fun of her mother, so she told the truth. When she said this, she was a little sad. I'm sorry. Seeing that Wang Xiaoyan's face didn't seem to be lying, Yang Ming was stunned and quickly apologized. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to have such a pitiful heart. It's nothing. I'm used to it. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head and her face returned to normal. What about your father? Yang Ming knew that Wang Xiaoyan's heart was now very fragile, and it was the easiest to test her secret. My father. When Wang Xiaoyan said this, there was a trace of sadness on her face. She shook her head with a bitter smile. I don't want to talk about him. Thinking that she might become a victim of her family's interests, how could Wang Xiaoyan be happy? Marrying a person she didn't know, this made Wang Xiaoyan feel very unacceptable. Yang Ming listened to Wang Xiaoyan's words and smiled bitterly. Wang Xiaoyan didn't say anything. There was no useful information. Looking at Wang Xiaoyan's expression, it was obvious that she didn't want to talk too much about her family. Yang Ming couldn't help it. He had to change the topic. Right, what are you doing in Songjiang? Are you also going to school? And I'm going to school. Wang Xiaoyan said perfunctorily. What school? Yang Ming continued to ask. He thought, is it to hide your identity? Songjiang Industry University, the same as you. Wang Xiaoyan replied. Then why haven't I seen you before? Yang Ming was a little curious. It turned out that Wang Xiaoyan was actually his classmate. It's not the same campus. Wang Xiaoyan said indifferently. Oh, so that's the case. Songjiang Industry University had several campuses. Yang Ming also knew that. However, Li Yixuan seemed to have said before that Wang Xiaoyan was a student of Songjiang Industry University. It was just that Yang Ming didn't pay attention to Wang Xiaoyan at that time, so he didn't remember this. Didn't you do this research before you pursued me? Wang Xiaoyan obviously didn't believe that Yang Ming didn't know anything about her. She ridiculed him with some disdain. She thought that Yang Ming was just trying to find a topic. Chapter 947. Hey. Yang Ming's eyes widened in astonishment. I pursued you? Yang Ming said in his heart, when did I pursue you? Are you kidding me? Why? You don't dare to admit it? Wang Xiaoyan said very disdainfully, I hate men who don't take responsibility. Why don't I dare to admit it? But when did I pursue you? Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable. Wang Xiaoyan saw Yang Ming's annoying look and she was annoyed. If you don't pursue me, why did you send me flowers? Why did you say those disgusting words? I sent flowers. Yang Ming was stunned and then he thought of the key of the matter. Fuck Li Yixuan, you fucking killed me. Thinking of what I said when I sent the flowers, no wonder Wang Xiaoyan misunderstood. Then he association with Wang Xiaoyan's sarcasm when she saw him. Yang Ming could be sure. It turns out that this chick is making things difficult for me because of this matter. This Li Yixuan is really causing a lot of trouble. However, Yang Ming was too lazy to explain at the moment. Now this chick was angry. She probably wouldn't believe it even if he explained it. It would be a waste of my words. Besides, Yang Ming didn't need to explain to her. I will teach her a lesson in a while so that she doesn't think that I'm the most powerful person in the world. As for finding Wang Xiaoyan as a lover, Yang Ming hadn't thought about it yet. As for the question of whether it was original, it was just to scare her. Why? Did you remember? Wang Xiaoyan sneered. Your memory is really not complimentary. He is it? Yang Ming didn't answer, but he asked a question. Whether it is or not, you know in your heart. Wang Xiaoyan increasingly felt that Yang Ming was really asking for a beating. He is simply not a man. Look at him. He is so timid. He doesn't even dare to admit that he pursued a girl. What can he do? However, Wang Xiaoyan was relieved. It seems that with his courage it is impossible to play any tricks. Yang Ming parked the car at the foot of West Star Mountain. There was a large open space waiting to be developed, so almost no one would pass by during normal times, not to mention at night. Even the vehicles passing by. Here. Yang Ming looked around and then said to Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan was obviously satisfied with this place. It was spacious and endless. She was not afraid that Yang Ming would set up an ambush. Do you need to turn on the headlights? Yang Ming asked as he pulled the handbrake. There were no street lights here. If the lights were turned off, it would become dark. There's no need. Wang Xiaoyan looked outside and refused directly. Although it was very dark outside, she could still vaguely see the shadows under the moonlight. Wang Xiaoyan had received dark training since she was a child. In the dark, her insight into things was more sensitive than ordinary people, so the darker it was, the more advantageous it was for her. It was just that Wang Xiaoyan didn't think that the dark was more advantageous to Yang Ming. This guy was simply no different in the dark than in the daytime. After a while, when Wang Xiaoyan recalled this past, she could only smile bitterly. Why was I so stupid? Yang Ming didn't say much. He turned off the headlights of the car, turned off the engine and jumped out of the car. How do we compete? Kickboxing or something else? Asked Yang Ming. And it is kickboxing until one side can't get up from the ground or automatically admits defeat. Wang Xiaoyan said the rules of the competition. Can't get up? Yang Ming thought this chick is quite insidious. Could it be that she wants to beat me until I can't get up? But in a while I will ride on you so that you can't get up. And okay, are there any restrictions? For example, I can't hit a certain part or something. Yang Ming asked lasciviously. But unfortunately Wang Xiaoyan couldn't see his expression. Otherwise she would definitely be vigilant. Wang Xiaoyan thought about Yang Ming's proposal before, but if this proposal was added, Wang Xiaoyan felt that it would be more harmful than beneficial to her. Although there were some special parts on the girl's body, such as the chest, Wang Xiaoyan felt that with her skill, she shouldn't let Yang Ming touch her. If this rule was added, it would be more troublesome if Yang Ming set a rule that he couldn't hit here or there. It was better to have no rules at all. So Wang Xiaoyan said, no, you can do whatever you want. If you win, you are capable. If you lose, you are unlucky. Originally there were no rules when assassins fought. Wang Xiaoyan naturally didn't want to have restrictions and Yang Ming also thought so the two hit it off. Yang Ming said after listening, well, I think so too. Can we start? Yes. Wang Xiaoyan stood still and said to Yang Ming, you go first. I will give you a chance to make a move. Don't. Once I make a move, you have nothing to do. This was Yang Ming's classic catchphrase. Wang Xiaoyan was so angry that she almost fainted. At this time you still want to show off? If this is the case, then fine. If you don't want to make a move, then don't make a move. This is what you said. Wang Xiaoyan said coldly. As soon as the voice fell, Wang Xiaoyan moved. At the beginning, Wang Xiaoyan naturally didn't use any killing moves. It was just a tentative attack. In the darkness, her small hand turned into a fist and hit Yang Ming's face. AI, don't hit people in the face. I am not willing to hit your face and you still want to hit me? Yang Ming grinned and smiled. He turned his head casually and avoided Wang Xiaoyan's punch. Wang Xiaoyan was stunned. She didn't expect Yang Ming to avoid her punch so easily, but she didn't think much about it because her punch wasn't fierce. It was just a tentative attack. Generally, the punks who were more proficient in fighting could smoothly avoid this punch. Seeing that the attack didn't hit, Wang Xiaoyan immediately retracted her fist. This time she turned her fist into a palm and slapped toward Yang Ming's face. I said that there are no rules. Don't talk so much nonsense. Wang Xiaoyan replied to Yang Ming coldly. This slap was horizontal. If it was just the head, it was impossible to avoid it. Moreover, when Wang Xiaoyan's right hand was out, her left hand wasn't idle. She punched toward Yang Ming's ribs. As an assassin, Wang Xiaoyan had a very good coordination ability. Her left hand and right hand were well matched. It seemed that there was no stagnation. Originally, it was dark in front of them and the visibility was very low. If it were other people, they might have fallen into Wang Xiaoyan's trap. They could avoid the left hand, but they couldn't avoid the right hand. However, Yang Ming saw the situation in front of him very clearly. He smiled slightly and his body suddenly moved to the side. Wang Xiaoyan's left hand missed, but her right hand still slapped over fiercely. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't let Wang Xiaoyan succeed. This chick is still fucking excited? I said not to hit the face. Why do you still want to hit me? Do you want to make me angry? If you really hurt my face, how can I explain it to Qin Mengyan and the others when I go back? This kind of obvious injury, even the punks didn't like to have it. After all, if they were caught, they wouldn't even have the chance to quibble. Since you hit my face, then I won't be polite with you. Isn't there no rules? That's fine. Yang Ming smiled. This is what you asked for. Yang Ming suddenly squatted down and dodged Wang Xiaoyan's slap. Then he quickly stretched out his two hands and grabbed Wang Xiaoyan's chest. Yang Ming's speed was much faster than Wang Xiaoyan's. He caught it immediately. And Yang Ming squeezed twice. So soft? Can't be, right? She didn't wear a bra after taking a shower? Wang Xiaoyan didn't wear a bra because she wanted to compete with Yang Ming. It was because it would be very uncomfortable to fight with a bra, and it would affect her normal performance. She didn't expect to be caught by Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan was suddenly shocked and shouted, Yang Ming, what are you doing? It's a breast-grabbing technique. Yang Ming smiled, Wei Xiaobao's unique skill. How is it? Isn't it amazing? Yang Ming said and rubbed twice. Not bad. So elastic. Although it's not very big, it's much stronger than Qin Mengyan's. It seems that it must be the result of long-term training and exercise. You are shameless. Wang Xiaoyan didn't expect Yang Ming to do this. She was so angry that she kicked at Yang Ming. Yang Ming naturally couldn't touch her for too long. It was fine to touch her for a while. After a long time, this chick would definitely go berserk. So he quickly let go of his hand and dodged to the back. He smiled and said, You are the one who said that there are no rules. That means we can fight anywhere. Wang Xiaoyan was so angry that her eyes were red. Since she was young, her breasts had never been touched by a man. This guy actually touched her breasts and he even took it for granted. Wang Xiaoyan originally had the intention to teach Yang Ming a lesson. After being hit by Yang Ming, she had the intention to kill Yang Ming. Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan also gave up the idea of continuing to test. She went crazy and tried to kill Yang Ming with all her strength. In Yang Ming's eyes, although Wang Xiaoyan's moves were very fierce and vicious, they didn't have the slightest harm to him. After the special training, Yang Ming was no longer the ignorant person before, especially with the advantage of night vision. Wang Xiaoyan's every move was all within Yang Ming's control. However, as Wang Xiaoyan's killing moves gradually increased, Yang Ming's brows also frowned. Motherfucker. It's just a competition. You don't have to be so crazy, right? Fortunately, I have practiced before. Otherwise, I would have been killed by you on the spot. If it were an ordinary person, I am afraid that he would have died long ago. However, Wang Xiaoyan didn't think so much at all. At this moment, Wang Xiaoyan was completely angry. Her only thought was revenge. Defeat this big pervert. Even when Yang Ming could repeatedly avoid her attacks, Wang Xiaoyan didn't think about what was going on. Chapter 948. Looking at Wang Xiaoyan's skill, Yang Ming suddenly had a feeling of déjà vu. He seemed to have seen it somewhere before, but it was somewhat different. Yang Ming shook his head. This chick, I still don't know whether she is a friend or a foe. I can't take it lightly. Looking at her current appearance, she must want to kill me. While Yang Ming was dealing with her, he was also a little annoyed. You can't be endless, right? If the tiger doesn't show its power, do you think I'm Hello Kitty? Yang Ming was thinking about how to subdue this chick, but he didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to be unable to subdue him for a long time. He was also a little annoyed. Wang Xiaoyan thought of Yang Ming's wretched behavior to her and she gritted her teeth. Now she couldn't do anything to Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan gritted her teeth and decided to use a dirty trick. While Yang Ming was dealing with her hands, Wang Xiaoyan suddenly stretched out her right leg and kicked toward Yang Ming's crotch. Yang Ming was also dealing with Wang Xiaoyan with a playful attitude. When she hit him with her left hand, he dealt with it with his right hand. When she hit him with her right hand, he dealt with it with his left hand. When they hit him together, he dealt with it with both hands. Now he was dealing with her hands, but he didn't expect this chick to play such a vicious trick. Fortunately, Yang Ming's reaction was sharp. Otherwise, according to the strength of Wang Xiaoyan's leg, Yang Ming's penis would have been broken. Seeing that Wang Xiaoyan actually kicked his penis, Yang Ming was furious. Isn't this chick too inhumane? She can't beat you, so she plays dirty? If it were other people, they would immediately become eunuchs. However, Yang Ming didn't think about how angry Wang Xiaoyan was when he attacked her chest. If he didn't teach the pervert a lesson after being flirted with, it wouldn't make sense, let alone a fierce girl like Wang Xiaoyan. Yang Ming suddenly retracted his leg and sandwiched Wang Xiaoyan's right leg between his legs. He did not show any mercy and directly pressed Wang Xiaoyan to the ground. Whether it was strength or skill, Wang Xiaoyan could not possibly be Yang Ming's opponent. When Wang Xiaoyan found herself pressed to the ground by Yang Ming, she wanted to fight back, but she helplessly found that her four limbs were very well suppressed by Yang Ming, leaving her no room for resistance. You little girl, aren't you being too mean? Do you want me to die without descendants? Yang Ming pressed Wang Xiaoyan and said fiercely, I was just casually playing with you and I didn't take it seriously. You, on the other hand, are not only killing moves but also dirty moves. You let me go. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't move and shouted anxiously. What are you shouting for? There isn't even a ghost here. No one can hear you shouting. Yang Ming's voice just fell, but he heard the sound of someone's breathing not far behind him. Yang Ming was shocked. At this time, how could someone come? Yang Ming turned his head slightly and looked in the direction of the sound. However, Wang Xiaoyan was still pressed down on this side so that she couldn't move. A person was standing not far from Yang Ming's BMW. He was coming to his side. To be precise, it should be a ghost. Because that person's face was not a human face at all. Chen Afu? Yang Ming was stunned. He could hide from others, but he couldn't hide from Yang Ming. Through the ghost face, Yang Ming saw the true face of Chen Afu. And, hearing the person in front of him suddenly call out his name, Chen Afu was shocked. When he heard the person's voice clearly, he was shocked and exclaimed, "Oh my God!" The next moment, Chen Afu turned and ran. Chen Afu never thought that he would actually meet Yang Ming again. He thought to himself, why is it so difficult today? Fortunately, I reacted quickly. Otherwise, being beaten up is already a light punishment. Chen Afu couldn't understand. How did Yang Ming recognize him? He had already put on the ghost face mask, but he was still recognized by Yang Ming. Chen Afu regretted it. It would have been better if he didn't go out today. Previously, he received a call from Elder Yu, giving Chen Afu a deadline to get another corpse. However, in the city there were police cars patrolling everywhere. Chen Afu had no way to do it. It couldn't be helped. Chen Afu had to go further away and came to West Star Mountain in the suburbs. He wanted to try his luck here to see if there were any idlers who passed by here. If he was scared to death, he could complete the task given by Elder Yu. When Chen Afu rode his bicycle to the vicinity of West Star Mountain, he suddenly found an empty BMW parked on the side of the road. Who would get off here in the middle of nowhere? The person in the car must be nearby. Chen Afu was suddenly overjoyed. Under the moonlight, he could vaguely see two figures not far away. They were lying on the ground and hugging each other. Chin Afu thought. It turns out that they are two couples who came here to have sex in the wild. They're really bored. In this cold winter, why don't you go to a hotel? You have to come here. You deserve to be unlucky. You were met by me. Go to hell together and be a pair of miserable mandarin ducks. Chin Afu was about to make a move. Suddenly he heard the person over there calling his name. Chin Afu was suddenly shocked. After listening carefully, it was still Yang Ming's voice. This time Chin Afu was scared to death. Why am I so unlucky? I can meet Yang Ming every time. As long as I meet Yang Ming, it is not a good thing. What is even more strange is that Yang Ming seems to be able to guess my identity every time. He is not afraid of me pretending to be a ghost. Therefore Chin Afu ran away, fearing that Yang Ming would catch him. Seeing Chin Afu, Yang Ming was also a bit stunned. This kid is not sleeping in the middle of the night. What is he doing here in this place? Every time he has a ghost face on his face. Is he mentally ill? Ghost face. Wait. Yang Ming seemed to have figured something out. Chin Afu pretending to be a ghost had been discovered by him several times. This shows that this guy pretends to be a ghost regularly, not accidentally. Then does the recent haunting case have anything to do with this guy? Yang Ming thought of something when he encountered the haunting case, but it was a bit vague. Now that he saw Chin Afu, he immediately understood that the person he thought of was him. Thinking of this, Yang Ming didn't care about Wang Xiaoyan under him. He jumped up from the ground and chased after Chin Afu. Just as Chin Afu was about to get on the bicycle, Yang Ming was about to catch up with him. Suddenly there was a whistling sound behind him. Yang Ming was shocked. He quickly turned around and saw Wang Xiaoyan punching his back. Yang Ming didn't dare to meet force with force. He could only turn around and deal with Wang Xiaoyan. On the other side, Chin Afu had already ridden the bicycle and ran away. Yang Ming was resentful in his heart. Motherfucker. You little girl, you can't do anything right. I let you go but you still sneak behind me? Today if I don't teach you a lesson that you will remember for a lifetime, my surname isn't Yang. Originally, Yang Ming was excited to find some clues to the haunting case, but now he was extremely angry. He glared at Wang Xiaoyan. His face was pale with anger. Under the moonlight it was terrifying. Wang Xiaoyan stayed in the dark for a long time. Her vision was also adapted. At this moment she could see Yang Ming's face with the reflection of the moonlight and snow. Didn't you see that I went to catch someone? What are you doing? Yang Ming's voice also became cold. Wang Xiaoyan saw that Yang Ming had a cynical look before. Suddenly he became so fierce. Wang Xiaoyan was a little dumbfounded. Just now Yang Ming got up to catch someone. She also saw it but she didn't think much about it. She just thought that this was a good opportunity to defeat Yang Ming. She didn't expect Yang Ming to be so angry. However, she wasn't willing to admit defeat. Our competition isn't over yet. I can do whatever I want. You can do whatever you want? Yang Ming sneered. Who do you think you are? Do you really think that you are a top assassin? I have been giving in to you. Do you think that you are very powerful? After listening to Yang Ming's words, Wang Xiaoyan was suddenly stunned. Her mind suddenly became clear. Recalling what happened just now, she was secretly shocked. Indeed, Yang Ming didn't seem to use much effort at all. He dealt with all of her killing moves easily. In the end, he even pressed her to the ground and couldn't move. Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan's face suddenly became pale. She didn't believe it. I am an assassin. How can I not beat a little punk? Especially when she heard Yang Ming's last sentence. You really think that you are a top assassin? Wang Xiaoyan was even more shocked. She didn't know if Yang Ming was just casually saying it, or had he already guessed her identity. Who are you? Wang Xiaoyan wasn't stupid. She didn't react just now because she was confused by Yang Ming's sudden attack on her chest. Her mind was only thinking about revenge and nothing else. But now she had to consider such an important issue. Who am I? Yang Ming shook his head. Sorry, after you become my woman I will tell you. What are you going to do? Wang Xiaoyan saw Yang Ming approaching her step by step. Suddenly there was a fear in her heart. Yes, Wang Xiaoyan had already understood at this moment that she wasn't Yang Ming's opponent. My killing move can be easily cracked by the other party. It seems that a simple counterpressure can make me unable to move. How can such a person be simple? What am I going to do? Of course, it is to fulfill your promise. Yang Ming's face was very cold, without a trace of emotion. You can't have forgotten the previous agreement, right? That is against the law. Wang Xiaoyan was at her wit's end. She was scared in her heart. Why didn't you say that it was against the law when you killed someone? Yang Ming's voice was full of sarcasm. Of course, Yang Ming was referring to Wang Xiaoyan's killing move, but he also implied that Wang Xiaoyan was an assassin. Chapter 949. Wang Xiaoyan bit her lip and looked at Yang Ming with vigilance. Wang Xiaoyan wanted to teach Yang Ming a lesson before, but now the situation had changed a lot. Not only did she not teach Yang Ming a lesson, but she was also in danger of being bullied by him. Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan secretly looked at the man in front of her. This man made her feel very dangerous. That little hooligan-like smile had fooled her. Thinking of the previous rock climbing and Yang Ming's nimble skills, Wang Xiaoyan began to regret. How can a little gangster have this? I really underestimated him. However, Wang Xiaoyan didn't understand. Since Yang Ming's skills were so powerful, then the previous time when he was with Zhao Ying he was just dealing with 2 underworld robbers and was injured. Zhao Ying even helped him apply medicine. Wang Xiaoyan had a deep memory of this incident. Wang Xiaoyan was confident that if it were her, she would be able to kill the 2 gangsters within 5 moves. With Yang Ming's current skill, it was estimated that he would be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone even if it was just 2 moves. Then why did he do it? Was it to deliberately hide his strength? Or was there another reason? This person Yang Ming made Wang Xiaoyan feel very curious. What she didn't expect was that there was actually such a powerful master by her side. It was just that when Yang Ming faced Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan had an unnatural feeling of déjà vu. It seemed that she had seen him before but she didn't have any impression of him. Get in the car. After Yang Ming opened the car door with the remote control, he said to Wang Xiaoyan in a deep voice, "Don't force me to do it. Although I don't mind you resisting, the more you resist, the more violent I will be." In the face of Yang Ming's naked threat, Wang Xiaoyan secretly hated in her heart. She had calculated everything, but she didn't expect Yang Ming to be a hidden master. No wonder her men had been defeated by this guy several times. She thought that it was because her men were useless. Now it seemed that this Yang Ming was really not simple. Looking at Yang Ming's cold eyes, Wang Xiaoyan knew that her behavior today had completely angered this man. He must have something important to do before he let her go, but she ruined his good deed. No wonder he was so angry. "Let's talk, okay?" Wang Xiaoyan tried to make a final struggle. "After you become my woman we will talk about other things." Yang Ming's voice was still cold and he was unmoved. Wang Xiaoyan was a little discouraged. Obviously Yang Ming wouldn't let her go. Wang Xiaoyan quietly reached for her pocket. She wouldn't use a gun in China unless she had to. The previous lipstick pistol was given to a guy named Lu Lake in Macau. After returning to Songjiang, Wang Xiaoyan got another one through special channels. "What are you touching?" Yang Ming glanced at Wang Xiaoyan and said coldly, "It's nothing." Wang Xiaoyan tried her best to look calm. "Oh, are you looking for this?" A lipstick pistol appeared in Yang Ming's hand, and the muzzle was pointed at Wang Xiaoyan. "How did you get it?" Wang Xiaoyan was shocked. She reached out and touched her pocket, but she was disappointed to find that the lipstick pistol in her pocket was gone. "I found it when I pressed you under my body." Yang Ming played with the lipstick pistol in his hand. "It's very delicate but unfortunately it can only hold 2 bullets. Yang Ming knew that this chick had a gun when he was in Macau. How could he not take precautions in advance? Just now, when he pressed Wang Xiaoyan under his body, Yang Ming took the lipstick pistol from Wang Xiaoyan's pocket. "Who the hell are you?" Wang Xiaoyan found that she was really wrong. She really underestimated Yang Ming's ability. "I said that after you are my woman, I will tell you if you behave well." Yang Ming said with some impatience, "Hurry up. Don't challenge my patience. I don't mind doing some disgusting things after I kill you." Yang Ming played with the lipstick pistol in his hand easily and said evilly. Wang Xiaoyan was horrified when she heard it. She could naturally association what Yang Ming meant by disgusting things. "Hey, don't talk nonsense. Get in the car." Yang Ming opened the door of the front passenger seat for Wang Xiaoyan gracefully. Wang Xiaoyan gritted her teeth and finally walked to Yang Ming's car. Now she had no choice. She looked at Yang Ming's devilish smile. She didn't doubt that what Yang Ming said was just a joke. Of course Yang Ming was just joking. Unfortunately Wang Xiaoyan made the wrong bet. Yang Ming didn't have any major shortcomings, But he was a little soft-hearted, especially to girls. At this time, if Wang Xiaoyan cried unreasonably, Yang Ming would really be at a loss. He wouldn't know where to start and he would let her go because he was soft-hearted. However, Wang Xiaoyan considered the problem from her own perspective. Wang Xiaoyan was an assassin, and Yang Ming was a terrible opponent in her view. I wanted to kill Yang Ming several times. Would Yang Ming let me go so easily? Wang Xiaoyan felt that it was impossible. Although Wang Xiaoyan valued a girl's chastity more, it wasn't impossible to not have it. The assassin training since childhood taught her that as an assassin, the most important thing was to save one's life. Face and humiliation were nothing. Only by saving one's life could one go for revenge and carry out a new mission. Therefore, at this moment there was no way to resist. Then just endure it. A single mistake had led to the current situation. Originally, she thought that Yang Ming was just a soft persimmon that she could knead, but now it seemed that she had become a soft persimmon. Yang Ming saw Wang Xiaoyan get in the car and he followed her to the driver's seat. Then he put down the 2 seats in the front row. There is no room for negotiation? Wang Xiaoyan made a final struggle. Don't play if you can't afford to lose. Yang Ming said faintly, today I will teach you a lesson. Wang Xiaoyan wanted to resist, but she had no doubt that Yang Ming could restrain her again before she resisted. This approach of repeatedly provoking Yang Ming was obviously unwise. In that case, God knew what Yang Ming would do. As he just said, it was unknown if he would kill her. Yang Ming was annoyed. Wang Xiaoyan, this chick didn't know her place. She wanted to teach him a lesson, but she ruined his good deed. Evil came from the guts and he didn't distinguish between the 2 sides. He directly hugged Wang Xiaoyan in his arms. Who asked you to seduce me? Who asked you to take a bath in the villa? Who asked you not to wear a bra? Who asked you to bet to be my lover? Now I will let you get what you want. Yang Ming began to take off Wang Xiaoyan's clothes, but the space in the car was relatively small, so it was not easy to take off the clothes. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't resist, so she simply lost the bet. Yang Ming, I can be your lover, but at most for 4 years. Thinking that after 4 years she would become a sacrifice for interests, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't help but feel a little sad. She didn't understand why her father valued fame and fortune so much. Is it just because he doesn't have a son? Doesn't he want the family to decline in my generation? What's the point of fighting for the illusory title of the first assassin? Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan's stubbornness came up again. Yes, why should I maintain my chastity for a husband that I can't see or touch? So what if I do it with Yang Ming? If my future husband dislikes me because of this, it is better. I don't have to marry him and I will be free. Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan also thought it through, so she said to Yang Ming that she would be his lover for 4 years. As for whether she wanted to retaliate against Yang Ming after 4 years, she hadn't thought about it yet. At least with her current skills, it was impossible to retaliate. And for Wang Xiaoyan's sudden change, Yang Ming was somewhat caught off guard. You agreed? Yeah, why don't I agree? Wang Xiaoyan thought it through, and the knot in her heart was naturally untied. If you want to bet, you have to lose. Come on. Anyway, she had to go to this step in the end. Wang Xiaoyan didn't believe that she could meet love in this life, so instead of having sex with a stranger, it was better to let Yang Ming take advantage of it first. This time it was Yang Ming's turn to hesitate. If Wang Xiaoyan resisted and took the opportunity to sneak an attack on him, Yang Ming would definitely not hesitate to tear off her clothes violently, and then forcibly XX her. But now, it wasn't forceful. Yang Ming suddenly felt a little discouraged. What are you waiting for? Don't tell me you don't dare. Wang Xiaoyan thought it through, so she no longer avoided it. Seeing Yang Ming hesitate, Wang Xiaoyan was a little unhappy. Don't dare? Who said I don't dare? Yang Ming said with a glare. Then come on. Don't tell me you don't know. Wang Xiaoyan sneered with some contempt. It turned out that this guy was tough on the outside but weak on the inside. Don't know? Who said I don't know? Yang Ming was really confused now. Did this chick eat the wrong medicine? Since you know, why don't you come? Can't you do it? Wang Xiaoyan said sarcastically. As an assassin, Wang Xiaoyan naturally learned the physiological structure of the human body. She also understood some of the desires and reactions of men. Therefore, although she felt a little embarrassed when she said these words, she was not too shy. Can't I? Yang Ming was suddenly anxious. Which man wanted to be said that he couldn't do it? Especially a man like Yang Ming who was a strong male chauvinist, it was even more harsh. Chapter 950. Then what are you waiting for? Wang Xiaoyan looked at Yang Ming with a smile, and suddenly a sense of achievement rose in her heart. Before she had been at a disadvantage. Whether it was bickering or fighting, she was not Yang Ming's opponent. Now she seemed to have found Yang Ming's weakness, that is, he is amenable to coaxing but not coercion. The more you follow him, the more timid he will be. Wang Xiaoyan finally found a way to vent her anger, so she continued to push Yang Ming. The space here is too small, you are wearing too much. Ugh, it's not easy to take it off. Yang Ming was a little depressed. Fuck, is this the legendary rape? Why does it feel so awkward? How can a rapist ask the rapist to hurry up? This world is too crazy and Yang Ming's thinking can't keep up. Then I will help you. Wang Xiaoyan said softly, exhaling like orchids, blowing in Yang Ming's ear. It was very tempting. After that, Wang Xiaoyan reached for the buttons of her coat and unbuttoned them one by one. Ugh. Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded and his heart began to beat a retreat drum. Something is wrong. With this girl's temper, how can she let me succeed so easily? Was there some kind of conspiracy behind this? As Wang Xiaoyan's coat gently unfolded, the white skin inside was revealed. Under the moonlight it was a little dazzling. Soon the entire coat was taken off, leaving only a small pink vest inside. On the small vest there were two bulges which was very attractive. I'm going to do it? Yang Ming asked tentatively. Come on, I welcome you. Wang Xiaoyan carefully folded the coat to avoid a trace in a while. Wang Xiaoyan put the coat on the steering wheel of the car. Welcome me. Yang Ming felt that he was going to collapse. Motherfucker, I want to forcibly XX you, right? Why did it feel like the two of them were in love? Can't you resist? Yang Ming looked at the charming Wang Xiaoyan. His heart was moved, but he felt that something was missing. You don't give me a sense of achievement. Me. Why should I resist? Wang Xiaoyan was very surprised and said, if you agree to bet, you must accept to lose. This is what you said. I lost, so I naturally have to abide by the previous agreement. Wang Xiaoyan knew her fate very well. If she followed the path her father had planned for her, she would never have any love in her life. Wang Xiaoyan's character was somewhat rebellious. Otherwise, she wouldn't run away from home and come to Songjiang to study. Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan didn't mind being crazy and rebellious again. At least this was the first time that she could make the decision. Even if the person in front of her made Wang Xiaoyan extremely angry, but to be fair, this guy was the man that Wang Xiaoyan had the most contact with since she was a child. Regardless of her impression of him, since the matter was already here, she would do it. Wang Xiaoyan saw that Yang Ming was still indifferent. She smiled and reached out to pull down the small vest on her body. Then she turned over and sat on Yang Ming. She asked softly, Am I beautiful? Looking at the two little jade bunnies exposed in the air, Yang Ming's throat couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. He nodded subconsciously. Beautiful. Do you want me? Wang Xiaoyan continued to ask. Yang Ming couldn't hold it anymore. I don't care what this chick wants to do. I can't hold it anymore. Just as he wanted to make a move, he suddenly felt that Wang Xiaoyan's entire upper body leaned over. The two jade bunnies were on Yang Ming's face. Oh. Yang Ming vaguely groaned. He thought, motherfucker. Who is raping who? Seems that I got the wrong person, right? Immediately afterward, Yang Ming felt a hand groping toward his crotch. She was trying to untie his belt. Perhaps it was because the belt buckle was special. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't untie it for a long time. Yang Ming wanted to help, but he suddenly felt that his waist was cold and his pants were scattered. Yang Ming was secretly puzzled. He glanced at it from the corner of his eyes and was shocked. Fuck. This chick is really worthy of being an assassin. He didn't know when there was a shiny dagger in her hand. Wang Xiaoyan just used this dagger, which he didn't know where it came from, to cut off Yang Ming's belt. Seeing the situation in front of him, Yang Ming was scared and broke out in a cold sweat. This chick, if she had evil thoughts and castrated him, then he wouldn't be able to find a place to cry. However, Wang Xiaoyan obviously didn't mean to harm Yang Ming at the moment. After the dagger completed its mission, Wang Xiaoyan threw it on the ground. As for whether Yang Ming wanted to take off his clothes, Wang Xiaoyan didn't care. Anyway, as long as a man took off his pants, he could do it. Yang Ming watched Wang Xiaoyan throw away the dagger with a lingering fear. Before he could recover, he felt that his lower body was surrounded by warmth, which was accompanied by Wang Xiaoyan's soft cry. Although it was very refreshing, Yang Ming suddenly had a sense of frustration. Today was really a failure. You go down. I'll go up. Yang Ming couldn't stand it. He wanted to regain his lost dignity. He felt that he had done the most fucked up thing in his life today. Motherfucker, if this spreads out, my heroic image will be gone. Therefore Yang Ming turned around and pressed Wang Xiaoyan below. Wait, I feel a little pain. Wang Xiaoyan, who was played by Yang Ming a few times, suddenly grabbed Yang Ming and didn't let him move again. You go down. I can control my strength. Otherwise it will be too painful. Yang Ming rolled his eyes and let Wang Xiaoyan occupy the high ground again. Being protective of the fairer sex was Yang Ming's good virtue. Since Wang Xiaoyan said so, Yang Ming couldn't do anything. However, not long after, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't stand it. Her breathing became rapid. She hugged Yang Ming tightly. She screamed and leaned on Yang Ming softly. Yang Ming looked at Wang Xiaoyan with some puzzlement. This chick can't be done so quickly. Why did you stop? Stopped? Wang Xiaoyan replied lazily. Why? Are you not done yet? Damn, do you think I'm a fast shooter? It hasn't even been 10 minutes. Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. Wang Xiaoyan was stunned. I seem to be done. Why are you so slow? Slow? Yang Ming broke into a sweat. He thought, isn't this chick too sensitive? She's actually so fast. I read in the book that the man is usually done first. Wang Xiaoyan said with some suspicion. Why are you so troublesome? I'm tired. Then you wait for a while. After that, she continued to lie on Yang Ming's body lazily without moving. Yang Ming was so angry that his teeth were itching. Motherfucker, this is probably the most failed rape incident in the world. If this was known by others, wouldn't they laugh their heads off? Yang Ming hugged Wang Xiaoyan's soft body. He wanted to continue, but he couldn't bear it. AI, who asked my heart to be softer than tofu. Of course, this is only for women. If it was an enemy, Yang Ming would have already blown his head with a punch. Wang Xiaoyan rested for a while, then she stretched lazily. Her face was full of redness. It hurts. Let's forget about it this time. Next time I'll let you be on top. Although it was a little painful, Wang Xiaoyan felt that the taste was still good. At least it was more comfortable than using her own hands. Then what do I do now? Yang Ming deliberately moved so that Wang Xiaoyan could feel that he was still firm. It's really annoying. Wang Xiaoyan was very sleepy every time after releasing. She wanted to sleep. At this moment she was in a daze and didn't want to move. Seeing that Yang Ming was disturbing her, she was a little impatient. I'll help you with my hands in a while. Don't disturb me. I'll sleep for a while. Yang Ming was speechless. He looked at Wang Xiaoyan, who closed her eyes instantly and fell asleep. He thought, this chick is really good. It's best not to be an enemy with her. Otherwise I really can't do it. Yang Ming sighed and turned up the heater in the car. Wang Xiaoyan didn't wear clothes. Yang Ming was afraid that she would catch a cold, so he took his coat and covered both of them. He did this because he was also afraid that Wang Xiaoyan would be exposed. If it was seen by the people on the passing vehicles, it would be bad. It was just the relationship with Wang Xiaoyan. Yang Ming was a bit difficult to deal with. Looking at the little blood on his thigh, Yang Ming knew that Wang Xiaoyan didn't lie to him. It was indeed her first time with him. What did Wang Xiaoyan mean when she said that she could only be his lover for 4 years? Yang Ming shook his head. This chick has too many secrets. I rashly had a relationship with her. I really don't know if it's right or wrong. The current situation was that he could only take one step at a time. Yang Ming was even a little afraid. He was afraid that the organization behind Wang Xiaoyan would stand on the opposite side of him. However, from Wang Xiaoyan's attitude toward him, it seemed that she didn't know that the Black Widow organization was looking for trouble with him. Could it be that Wang Xiaoyan and the Black Widow organization have nothing to do with each other? At this time it was late at night. Yang Ming didn't sleep well last night. In a daze he hugged Wang Xiaoyan and fell asleep. Qin Afu rode the bicycle and looked behind him, fearing that Yang Ming would catch up. But fortunately Yang Ming seemed to be delayed by something and did not continue to chase. Qin Afu's heart breathed a sigh of relief. It was all Elder Yu's fault for being too anxious. He insisted that Qin Afu get rid of the corpse at this juncture. Qin Afu knew that Elder Yu was powerful and he didn't dare to disobey. When there was no Yang Ming behind him, he began to figure out how to complete Elder Yu's task. At the same time, in a secret room on the outskirts of Songjiang, Elder Yu was sitting on the side. On the main seat was a man with his face covered. He was the boss that Jing Xiaoping mentioned in Macau. Chapter 951. How is it going? The man with his face covered asked with a strange hoarse voice. The girl of the Lan family is very cunning. She is with her grandmother, that old thing. They are hidden very well. My people have searched Shenangjia, but they haven't found their whereabouts, said Elder Yu. How long has it been? Isn't your efficiency too low? The man with his face covered said with some displeasure. Don't talk to me in this tone. I'm not your subordinate. We are just in a cooperative relationship. Elder Yu was a little displeased to be accused by the man with his face covered. But I spent money. The man with his face covered snorted. Your original purpose was to get rid of the Lan family. I just provided you with a lot of money to get it done as soon as possible, but you are dragging it out. Don't ruin my big plan. If you have a big plan to do, but we don't have a big plan, said Elder Yu. We are more anxious than you, but things have to be solved step by step. There must be a deadline, right? Asked the man with his face covered impatiently. When my sinister voodoo is mastered, it will be the Lan family's Memorial Day, said Elder Yu with a sneer. The man with his face covered waved his hand. He wasn't in the mood to listen to what Elder Yu said about sinister voodoo. He didn't understand these things. He just said, the money this time has been transferred to your account. I hope you don't just take the money without doing anything. Otherwise, I'm not easy to mess with. Elder Yu naturally knew that the guy in front of him wasn't a good person. His scheme seemed to be bigger than his own. It could be said that the two people were now in the same boat, cooperating for similar purposes. The man with his face covered was his own god of fortune. How could Elder Yu annoy him? It was just that eliminating the girl of the Lan family was indeed not a simple matter. Don't worry. Our organization will do our best. When Elder Yu heard that the money was in his account, his face suddenly showed a smile. Their economic sources were limited. Yun Guangdou betrayed the organization, making the organization's funds even more tight. Fortunately, the man with his face covered provided timely help and was responsible for the organization's expenses. The man with his face covered nodded, then he waved his hand and said, Okay, you can go back. I hope my money is worth it. Although Elder Yu was very arrogant, he came to ask for money after all. How could he be too arrogant? He could only bow and scrape a little. He got up and left the room of the masked man. The masked man fell into deep thought. He didn't expect Yang Ming to be so lucky. He thought that he was just a reckless man with courage but no brains. However, it seemed that his plan was becoming more and more difficult to succeed. About 400 or 500 meters away from Yang Ming's BMW, a middle-aged man put on his wireless headphones again with a wry smile. The moaning sound of a man and a woman coming from it made him feel a little uncomfortable, so he took it off for a while. However, at this moment, there was no movement in the wireless earpiece. There was only the sound of two even breathing, one rough and one soft. It seemed that both of them were resting, but this also showed that Wang Xiaoyan was not in any danger. The middle-aged man was relieved. Popping his head out of a snow pile in the distance, the middle-aged man shook off the snow on his body and began to move his body. Just now he had been lying in the snow pile, so he was almost frozen. He had almost become his own masterpiece, the tombstone. Previously at the temple fair, after the first fight with Yang Ming, the middle-aged man paid attention to the identity of Yang Ming. After a careful investigation, he already had some ideas. The apprentice of the king of assassins? A smile crossed the middle-aged man's mouth. It was very interesting. Sometimes the world was so wonderful. The young lady desperately rejected and resisted her fate. She even ran away from home. In the end, the result was still the same. However, this could not be said to be a good thing. The middle-aged man smiled and got up quickly. He left the foot of West Star Mountain like the wind and ran in the direction of the city. It was enough to have Yang Ming to protect Wang Xiaoyan, wasn't it? The middle-aged man was confident that he could beat Yang Ming in speed. In other aspects, he did not have the confidence to win. Moreover, he also heard about Yang Ming's special training a while ago. The current Yang Ming should be more difficult to deal with than before. Finally, he could have a good sleep. Unknowingly, the sky in the east had turned white. Yang Ming, who was very sensitive to light, also opened his eyes at this time. Wang Xiaoyan was still sleeping soundly. Yang Ming hesitated for a moment. He could not bear to disturb her. He quietly looked at her red face. After an unknown period of time when the sky had become gray, Wang Xiaoyan woke up. She stretched lazily and opened her eyes. She was shocked to see Yang Ming looking at her with his eyes open. "You didn't sleep?" "I slept, but I woke up." Yang Ming could not help but pinch Wang Xiaoyan's tender face, and then said, "I saw that you were sleeping soundly, so I didn't disturb you." "Oh." Wang Xiaoyan nodded. She was quite satisfied with Yang Ming's attitude at this time. Although she did not have a good impression of Yang Ming in her heart, but the previous bad impression did lessen a little. Perhaps because of the numbness of sleep, Wang Xiaoyan subconsciously twisted her body, but suddenly felt the firmness of Yang Ming's body. She was stunned. You didn't hold it in for the whole night, did you? What do you think?" Yang Ming was a little amused. "You've been so hard, don't you feel uncomfortable?" Wang Xiaoyan was surprised. "Little Yan, I thought you knew a lot. That was the morning erection, okay?" Yang Ming explained with a wry smile. "Oh, you're so annoying." Wang Xiaoyan suddenly woke up. She did see this situation in the book, but she did not remember it. "You've slept enough. Why don't we do it again now?" Yang Ming said with some excitement. "Now?" Wang Xiaoyan looked out of the car window and found that it was already morning, so she frowned and refused. "What if someone sees it? I don't want it." "Then what about me?" Yang Ming pointed to his lower body. "Then, let's talk about it when we go back." Wang Xiaoyan's face was red and she was a little angry. She glared. "You're a little too bad. You know that I can't beat you, but you still set me up. Are you satisfied now?" "Me?" Yang Ming finally understood a sentence. What is called women are unreasonable. They can't be reasoned with. Yesterday it was Wang Xiaoyan who yelled and wanted to compete with me. Today it became me who set her up. Don't think that I will like you just because I did it with you. Wang Xiaoyan continued to add, "I'm just fulfilling my promise. When I am powerful one day I will kill you with my own hands." "Oh, then I'll wait and see." Yang Ming smiled after listening and didn't take it seriously. Wang Xiaoyan sat up from Yang Ming's body and quickly put on her clothes. There was nothing strange before, but once she left Yang Ming's body, Wang Xiaoyan suddenly felt a sharp pain and frowned. "What's wrong?" Yang Ming saw it and asked quickly. "Nothing." Wang Xiaoyan, who put on her clothes, restored her previous cold expression. She glanced at Yang Ming's lower body and said, "Why don't you put away your disgusting thing? Be careful not to cut it off." The dagger that fell on the ground last night had returned to Wang Xiaoyan's hands at some unknown time. This little girl was currently playing with it. Yang Ming's heart was shocked and he hurriedly put on his pants. My goodness, does this chick have a split personality? He was fine just now. Why did she turn hostile after putting on her clothes? Do you think I'm a stud horse? Do you just stop after doing it? Coward. Wang Xiaoyan put away the dagger disdainfully, and then she didn't forget to mock Yang Ming. I shouldn't have been soft-hearted yesterday. I should have stabbed you to death. Yang Ming said at the moment. Naturally, he didn't mean to stab with a knife. As for what to use, he believed that Wang Xiaoyan was very clear in her heart. Seeing that Wang Xiaoyan turned hostile, Yang Ming was a little annoyed. But you didn't. Wang Xiaoyan sneered. Yang Ming, I found that you have a weakness. That is, you are soft-hearted. Fuck. Yang Ming wanted to curse. His weakness was seen through by this chick. It depends on who. Yang Ming said coldly, I didn't kill you because I still haven't figured out some things. What do you want to figure out? Wang Xiaoyan was a bit baffled. What is your relationship with the Black Widow assassin group? Yang Ming asked suddenly. What? Wang Xiaoyan's expression changed in an instant, but she quickly returned to normal. However, it was only a moment and it was also captured by Yang Ming. What Black Widow? What is that? Nothing. It is an assassin group. Yang Ming said faintly. However, he didn't expose Wang Xiaoyan's expression just now. He didn't want to push it too hard. He would let her know first and the rest could be discussed later. What does that have to do with me? Wang Xiaoyan's expression was somewhat unnatural. Don't you think that your skills are very good? Yang Ming shrugged. This made me think of a profession. What profession? Wang Xiaoyan's heart moved. Yang Ming said. Are you saying that I am an assassin? Wang Xiaoyan pretended to be stunned, then smiled and said, Hee hee, you think too much, right? Are there assassins in this world? Then where did your gun come from? Asked Yang Ming. Gun. Wang Xiaoyan had forgotten this before. After Yang Ming reminded her, she remembered that her gun was still in Yang Ming's hands. Indeed, if she was just an ordinary person, how could she have a gun in her hand? Think about how to explain it. Yang Ming snorted and smiled. It is best to find a more convincing reason that can make me believe it after hearing it. Chapter 952. Let you believe it after listening to it? Wang Xiaoyan thought, even if I explain it to you, you definitely won't believe it. Then what else do I have to explain? Wang Xiaoyan thought of this and her stubbornness came up again. I won't explain it. What can you do to me? Yang Ming didn't expect this chick to be a rascal. It was really a headache, but there was no way. He could only sigh helplessly and said, Well, I can't do anything to you. Seeing Yang Ming's helpless look, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't help but laugh. It turned out that the method to control Yang Ming was so simple. Why did I waste my strength to fight with him before? Indeed, Yang Ming was now tolerant of Wang Xiaoyan, but it was also because of the relationship with Wang Xiaoyan that Yang Ming would have tender feelings for her. He couldn't do anything about Wang Xiaoyan's unruly behavior. Then you tell me, how do you know that it is a pistol? How can your skill be so good? I will tell you my identity. Wang Xiaoyan threw out the conditions of the exchange. Now she was not afraid of Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan found that she didn't have to be fierce to Yang Ming at all. As long as she was gentle and coquettish, Yang Ming couldn't do anything to her. Because I have seen a similar pistol, so I know that it is a pistol, Yang Ming replied. In fact, this was indeed the case. Yang Ming didn't lie. I don't believe it. However, Wang Xiaoyan didn't believe it. Then how can you believe it? Yang Ming smiled and said, This time I really didn't lie to you. What I said is true. Then take out the evidence. Wang Xiaoyan said. Evidence? Yang Ming pretended to be hesitant. Wang Xiaoyan thought that Yang Ming couldn't find an excuse. She was secretly happy, but she saw Yang Ming take something out of his pocket and threw it to her. Is this considered evidence? Wang Xiaoyan took the thing that Yang Ming threw to her and was suddenly stunned. This was a lipstick-shaped pistol that was exactly the same as her pistol. How do you have it? Wang Xiaoyan asked in surprise. You gave it to me. Yang Ming smiled. I gave it to you. Wang Xiaoyan inexplicably played with the lipstick pistol that Yang Ming gave her. Suddenly she said, This is mine. How can it be in your hands? This lipstick pistol had been with Wang Xiaoyan for a long time. Naturally, there were some marks on it that only she knew. Last time in Macau, it was taken away by Lu Lei. After Wang Xiaoyan returned to Songjiang, she could only order an identical one. However, at this time Wang Xiaoyan still recognized her previous one. Okay, don't be surprised. I saved you in Macau. It's not a loss for you to repay me with your body. If it weren't for me, you would be dead now. Yang Ming said very plainly. Macau? Wang Xiaoyan's expression froze in an instant. She looked at Yang Ming incredulously. She recalled the incident in Macau and suddenly fell into contemplation. The person I met in Macau. Wait, no wonder when I talked to Yang Ming yesterday I felt that his voice was a bit familiar and his figure was also a bit familiar. Turns out. Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan was suddenly shocked. You are that Lu Lei? Little Yan Yan, you finally recognized me. It seems that I didn't save you in vain. Yang Ming smiled and admitted it. Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan was so angry that she jumped up from her seat and wanted to strangle Yang Ming's neck. You are a bad guy. You dare to lie to me? You know that I am not as good as you, but you still want to compete with me? Do you think that I, Wang Xiaoyan, am a fool who is easy to bully? Don't make trouble. I'm driving. Yang Ming pushed away Wang Xiaoyan, who was grabbing him, and smiled. I didn't lie to you. This is my secret. If I didn't sleep with you, do you think I would tell you? You piss me off. Wang Xiaoyan was so angry that she sat there unhappily. Since you know my identity, why are you still asking me? Are you doing it deliberately? I want to see if you have love for me. Sex without love is meaningless. Yang Ming began to talk nonsense. Love your head. Wang Xiaoyan said angrily, Are you really that Lu Lei? But he doesn't look like you at all. Haven't you heard of the disguise technique? Yang Ming said, At that time I was also going to do something. I couldn't reveal my identity. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. It was normal for people like her to need makeup sometimes, but she had to admit that Yang Ming's disguise technique was quite successful. She didn't doubt his authenticity at all. Then, are you also an assassin? Wang Xiaoyan didn't avoid anything. What they did in Macau, they were very clear in each other's hearts. There was no need to hide anything. However, Wang Xiaoyan suddenly felt that Yang Ming was not as bad as before. After all, the character of an assassin was changeable. The pervert Yang Ming that she saw before might not be his true character. Me. You can say yes, but you can also say no. Yang Ming did not admit nor deny it. His words were ambiguous, but Wang Xiaoyan couldn't find any flaws. Yang Ming also said in Macau that he did not belong to any organization. He belonged to the type of person who was a lone ranger. In other words, you haven't joined any organization yet? When Wang Xiaoyan saw Yang Ming's skill, she suddenly had the idea of recruiting him. If there was Yang Ming accompanying her to perform the mission, the success rate would definitely be very high. Wang Xiaoyan had seen Yang Ming's skill, and in her own organization she might be the best. You asked me so many questions. Shouldn't it be my turn to ask you? Yang Ming did not answer Wang Xiaoyan's question this time, but asked, isn't this fair? You have slept with me. Can't you give in to me? After Wang Xiaoyan knew the true identity of Yang Ming, her heart relaxed a lot. Yang Ming is actually a kindred spirit with me. In this way, even if I become his mistress, I won't lose anything. Maybe my assassin group will gradually expand under the efforts of the two people and become the world's #1. At that time, maybe my father can change his mind, right? The purpose of Wang Xiaoyan's establishment of this assassin group was to make it strong and become the world's #1. Let my father take a look. In this way, her father would no longer ask her to marry a person she didn't know. However, with the passage of time, Wang Xiaoyan discovered how difficult it was to develop an assassin group to become strong. Although she had worked very hard, she was still not as good as those second-rate assassin groups in the world. There was no other reason. The overall strength was there. In the entire organization, she was the most powerful. She couldn't even take one move from Yang Ming. Not to mention the world's #1, she might not even be in the top 100. However, the appearance of Yang Ming gave Wang Xiaoyan hope again. Of course, this didn't mean that she had feelings for Yang Ming after Yang Ming slept with her once. It was just because Wang Xiaoyan had a rebellious temperament. She didn't want others to control her destiny. Although she couldn't say that she liked Yang Ming and even thought that Yang Ming was a bit hateful, this person was much more realistic than the fiancé that she had never met, right? At least she could see and touch him. Moreover, it wasn't arranged by others. Even if she was willing to accept the loss and have a relationship with him, it was also her own will. It had nothing to do with others. Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan felt that being with Yang Ming was better than being the apprentice fiancé of the King of Assassins. Of course, Yang Ming had the ability to make the assassin group stronger. Assassins worshipped the strong, and Wang Xiaoyan was no exception. Although she was quite critical of Yang Ming's lecherousness, Wang Xiaoyan had to admit that he was powerful. Wang Xiaoyan weighed the pros and cons and decided to gamble. She wanted to decide her own life, not let others arrange it for her. As for the relationship with Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan also thought about it. Lover is lover. Anyway, if Yang Ming really decided to help her, then she and he would become partners. It was normal to go on missions together and live together. It didn't matter if there was that relationship. I slept with you? It seems that you slept with me, right? Yang Ming said with a bitter smile. Why don't I tell you after I really fuck you once? Why are you so indecent? Wang Xiaoyan raised her eyebrows. Yang Ming, do you have any idea of joining an assassin group? Me? Join an assassin group? Yang Ming thought about it secretly. He probably understood the meaning of Wang Xiaoyan. This chick may have the heart of appreciating talents. She wants me to join her organization? Isn't this what I want to do? Yang Ming was worried that he didn't have a chance to find out the situation, and Chick Wang sent herself to him. How could he not grasp the opportunity? However, there was no excitement on his face. Instead, he asked very plainly, assassin group? You know, I have always been a loner and I am not very interested in killing people. I just kill occasionally. You see, if I liked to kill people, I would have killed you yesterday. Wang Xiaoyan suddenly had some disdain after listening. Kill occasionally? Only kill occasionally? How many people have never killed in their life? You are good. You kill occasionally. Why does it sound as easy as drinking water? Especially for Yang Ming's last sentence, she was even more disdainful. You didn't kill me because you want to sleep with me, right? Ugh, you also saw it. I am a person who has tender feelings for women. Of course, the reason you said is also there. Yang Ming said with some embarrassment. Yang Ming, you tell me first. Where did you learn Kung Fu? Wang Xiaoyan suddenly asked. Chapter 953. Kung Fu. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't admit the origin of his Kung Fu. I practiced it myself. Practiced it yourself? How is it possible? Wang Xiaoyan obviously didn't believe it. How can you practice it so well? What you said is wrong. In the past, Zhang Wuji was also self-taught. Can't I be self-taught? Yang Ming said reasonably. Wang Xiaoyan said in her heart, how can it be the same? Do you think this is a wuxia novel? However, she also understood that some teachings were secrets. It was impossible to talk about it casually. Just like her own origin, she wouldn't easily reveal it to others. But it's okay to tell you. I accidentally saved an old man who was a peerless master by chance. He was grateful to me, so he taught me Kung Fu. Yang Ming saw that Wang Xiaoyan didn't believe it, so he continued to say, you also saw it. I was with Zhao Ying before and we met 2 hooligans. But at that time my Kung Fu was still very bad. Even if I won, I was injured. Yang Ming didn't lie to Wang Xiaoyan. He did inadvertently save Fong Tian, which facilitated this coincidence. Wang Xiaoyan didn't believe Yang Ming's words, but there was no other way. However, his explanation was easier to believe. Wang Xiaoyan also doubted why Yang Ming was injured when he dealt with the 2 hooligans. At this moment, listening to Yang Ming's explanation, it was easier to believe. I will believe you for the time being, said Wang Xiaoyan. Should I talk about you? Yang Ming changed the high beam to low beam. The car had entered the city. Me? Well, I admit that I am a member of the Black Widow assassin organization, but how do you know about the existence of this organization? Wang Xiaoyan was not afraid that Yang Ming knew anything at the moment because Yang Ming already knew enough. Last time in Macau, the 2 people were still in a cooperative relationship. Yang Ming was very clear about her identity. After Yang Ming listened to Wang Xiaoyan's straightforward words, he suddenly said, are you really from the Black Widow organization? The Black Widow assassin organization is not famous. Do I need to pretend to be one? Wang Xiaoyan said bitterly. From the beginning when she left home, she was full of confidence. She thought that she could turn her assassin group into the world's strongest. At least one of the top 2 organizations. But now the Black Widow was still unknown. The last time she went to Macau was the first time Wang Xiaoyan to perform such a big mission. She thought it was a good opportunity for the organization's development, but she didn't expect it seemed to be involved in a conspiracy plot. If it weren't for Yang Ming's rescue, Wang Xiaoyan believed that it would have been difficult for her to get away by herself. Maybe she would have died there. Therefore, after knowing that the Lu Lake was Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan was not very resistant to having a relationship with Yang Ming. After all, he saved her. What is your position in the Black Widow assassin organization? Yang Ming frowned and asked. The Black Widow assassin organization was created by me. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head and said with some emotion, however, the overall strength is too weak. It is not worth mentioning at all. You created it? Yang Ming was shocked. He stopped the car on the side of the road, turned his head and stared at Wang Xiaoyan. You mean you are the highest person in charge of the Black Widow assassin organization? What's wrong? What's wrong? Seeing that Yang Ming's reaction was so strong, Wang Xiaoyan was somewhat inexplicable. Did you send someone to trouble me? Yang Ming stared at Wang Xiaoyan's eyes and asked. Did I send someone to trouble you? Isn't that the same as asking my people to die? Wang Xiaoyan said with some self-deprecation. Not recently, but there was before. Yang Ming didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to be the highest person in charge of the Black Widow assassin organization. It saved a lot of trouble and he could get the answer he wanted from her. Before. Wang Xiaoyan fell into deep thought. She suddenly thought of something and said, I remember. I didn't send someone to trouble you, but once, they went to perform a mission in a foreign country. At the airport you reported that they had knives in their bags. The people below hated it and wanted to retaliate. This time it was Yang Ming's turn to be shocked. Is it that simple? Fuck. It's that time at the airport again. How much trouble did that little thing bring me? Seems that I was still young and frivolous. I didn't think about the consequences of doing things. Not only did I attract the assassins, but I also attracted the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It was just because I had nothing to do, so I used my special ability. Is it because of this? Yang Ming was somewhat incredulous. It's because of this. Later I learned about this matter. Because of your relationship with Zhao Ying, I told them not to look for you. Wang Xiaoyan explained. Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded after listening. He thought that some powerful forces were targeting him, but he didn't expect it to be just because of a small misunderstanding. Well, I have told you everything. Wang Xiaoyan gritted her teeth and said, I still have a request. As long as you promise me, I will be your lover in the future. You can do whatever you want to me. Do whatever I want to you? Yang Ming suddenly felt a little restless. Since Lan Ling left, Yang Ming hadn't played any tricks for a long time. Lin Jiyun belonged to the conservative type. Qin Mengyan belonged to the shy type. Although Xiaoqing was mature, she was also very traditional. Sun Jia? She was a little fox, but that girl was too difficult to conquer. Not to mention training, her heart might not be fully on him. As for Huang Lele, although she was also very bold, she was silly and pure. Yang Ming couldn't make her too lascivious. However, Wang Xiaoyan, this fierce girl, could be trained more. Therefore, when Wang Xiaoyan threw out this tempting request, Yang Ming was moved. He was really moved, and he was very moved. However, Yang Ming wasn't hot-headed enough to directly agree. This girl wasn't a fool. The prerequisite was there. Yang Ming decided to listen to her conditions first. What is the request? Tell me. But do whatever I want to you. If you promise me, then it's up to you. Wang Xiaoyan's face was slightly red. She clenched her teeth and said, I want you to join my assassin organization and be my partner. Join your assassin organization? Yang Ming didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to make this request. Previously, Yang Ming also wanted to join this organization. The purpose was to find out why someone targeted him before. Because Yang Ming suspected that someone hired the Black Widow assassin organization to deal with him. He wanted to find the person behind the scenes, but he didn't expect things to be complicated by him. The reason why the Black Widow found him to deal with him was just because of a small conflict that he inadvertently had. After knowing the truth of the matter, Yang Ming didn't need to join the Black Widow assassin organization. However, at this moment, Wang Xiaoyan's proposal was indeed very tempting. Moreover, the two of them were in the same field. They should have more common topics. Yang Ming sometimes felt that he was very lonely. The identity of an assassin couldn't be shared with anyone except Fong Tian. Even Suya only knew a little and didn't understand everything. With his own woman, he couldn't share this secret. This made Yang Ming very uncomfortable. However, the appearance of Wang Xiaoyan just solved this problem. Some things that couldn't be said to Qin Mengyan and Lin Jiyun could be said to Wang Xiaoyan. It just so happened that he also lacked experience. It was good to join the Black Widow assassin organization to gain experience. Yang Ming hesitated for a moment and then he made a decision. I can join your organization, but I am a person with principles. Although I have killed many people, these people basically deserve to die. So, when I accept the mission, I have the right to choose whether to do it or not. Okay, deal. After Wang Xiaoyan heard it, she agreed without thinking. Then she smiled and reached out to Yang Ming. Welcome to join. Yang Ming was stunned as he reached out and shook hands with Wang Xiaoyan. He grabbed her soft and boneless little hand and he felt a little itchy in his heart. However, Yang Ming at the moment was somewhat incomprehensible to Wang Xiaoyan's straightforwardness. Just like that, it's a deal? You don't want to consider my request? Your principles are similar to mine, so I don't need to consider these. Wang Xiaoyan smiled. Moreover, we are partners. If you don't want to perform the mission, can I force you? Really? Yang Ming smiled after listening. Maybe in these few contacts you can probably understand my character. I will never be soft-hearted to the wicked, but I really can't do it to innocent people. Wang Xiaoyan nodded and remembered Yang Ming's behavior when he was in Macau. It was really in line with this sentence. Just now, when she was fighting with Yang Ming, how was he the guy in Macau who killed without blinking an eye? Wang Xiaoyan asked herself that she couldn't do other arrangements step by step with a blank expression after killing people with a gun. Yang Ming was like this, but he treated her a little differently. She had angered Yang Ming several times. Except for having sex with her, Yang Ming did not do anything else to her. Moreover, it was said that Yang Ming had sex with her, but it was better to say that both of them were pushing each other. I wish us a pleasant cooperation, Wang Xiaoyan said with a smile. The previous hazy mood was swept away, and the resentment toward Yang Ming disappeared without a trace. Wang Xiaoyan was suddenly full of hope for her future life. If Yang Ming could help her make the Black Widow assassin group stronger, it would not be a bad thing. Let's practice more in bed first. Partners need a good tacit understanding. I think we can cultivate our tacit understanding in bed. Yang Ming said with a smile. Why are you so annoying? Wang Xiaoyan's face was slightly red, but it was undeniable that this was the best way to improve the relationship between the two. Are you hungry? Do you want to find a place to eat something? After a busy night, it was time to eat breakfast. Chapter 954. Now that you mention it, I am really hungry. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. I will take you to eat something delicious. Yang Ming smiled and said mysteriously. What is it? Wang Xiaoyan asked. Is it something disgusting like stinky tofu? So I will kill you. Of course not. Yang Ming was stunned. I don't eat that thing. I will take you to eat anhui beef plate noodles. Wang Xiaoyan immediately said after listening. Is it the one that you and Sister Zhao Ying went to? How do you know? Yang Ming was a bit baffled. Sister Zhao Ying told me. She said that the noodles there were delicious. I wanted to eat there but I didn't have a chance so I delayed it. Wang Xiaoyan said. Yang Ming nodded after listening. The noodles at this restaurant are indeed authentic. I haven't eaten it since then. Okay, then let's go. Wang Xiaoyan touched her lower abdomen and said, I am starving. The identities of the two were revealed and there were fewer barriers. They had become partners. Wang Xiaoyan was too lazy to blow her eyebrows and glare at Yang Ming. Inadvertently, she restored her cute and overbearing side. However, Wang Xiaoyan didn't think that she would fall in love with Yang Ming. Lovers didn't have to have love. Yang Ming needed her as a lover and she needed Yang Ming to help her revitalize the assassin group. This deal seemed to be relatively fair. At least there was no loss. As for what to do in the future, they could only take one step at a time. He hadn't come to the snack street behind the school for a long time. Yang Ming couldn't help but think of the memories of high school. Li Dagong was doing well now. According to him, he had learned almost everything he needed to learn. He was waiting for Ho Junhan's company to start and then he would jump ship. It was just that Su Peng was in a more miserable state. Yang Ming left him some words last time. He didn't know how he thought about it but he hadn't contacted him. Yang Ming decided to go to his place after breakfast. Qingji anhui beef noodle? Wang Xiaoyan pointed at the signboard of a snack shop by the roadside and asked, Is it here? It's here. Yang Ming nodded, parked the car and got off with Wang Xiaoyan. Welcome. Would you like some noodles? As soon as they entered the shop, they heard the owner's greeting. In the summer they would open food stalls outside and in the winter they would move into the house. Boss, 2 bowls of beef noodle with eggs. Yang Ming instructed the boss with familiarity. The boss nodded. But why don't you two eat together in a big bowl? My small bowl here is very big. I'm afraid this girl can't finish it. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. Why does this boss recommend a big bowl every time we come here? He remembered that it was the same when he came with Zhao Ying. Wang Xiaoyan suddenly blushed, but Wang Xiaoyan's appetite was really not very big, especially for breakfast. She didn't eat much. She thought about it and said, Then I'll get a big bowl. Wang Xiaoyan didn't think so much. In her opinion, she had kissed and hugged Yang Ming yesterday. There was nothing wrong with eating a bowl of noodles. Then I'll get a big bowl. The boss smiled and went to prepare. After ordering the noodles, the two began to look for a seat. When they turned around, they saw an acquaintance that both of them knew. That person also happened to look up. The 3 pairs of eyes met and each of them was a little surprised. Sister Zhao Ying. Wang Xiaoyan called out first. Yin and Yang Ming, why are you here? Zhao Ying was also very puzzled. At this time, a person next to Zhao Ying wasn't so natural. He didn't expect to meet Yang Ming, but at this moment he couldn't leave even if he wanted to. He could only lower his head and eat the noodles, trying not to be discovered by Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan and I are neighbors. Our relationship is good, so I invited her to eat noodles. Yang Ming winked at Wang Xiaoyan, signaling her not to talk nonsense, and then said to Zhao Ying, You are neighbors? That's such a coincidence. Xiaoying didn't think much and said, just in time. Come and eat together. It was breakfast time now and there were no other empty seats here. Yang Ming also had the same intention when he saw Xiaoying. Sister Ing, why are you here? Yang Ming asked curiously. I have to go to school early these days. I passed by here that day and ate some noodles. It was good so I came here every day. Xiaoying smiled and said, Yang Ming, the place you recommended is really good. Wang Xiaoyan sat next to Xiaoying and Yang Ming sat next to the person opposite Xiaoying. He thought it was a stranger but when he got closer Yang Ming immediately recognized who this guy was. Yeah. Isn't this teacher Jin Gang? Yang Ming patted Jin Gang's shoulder vigorously. Jin Gang was eating noodles with his head down. When he was patted by Yang Ming his shoulder hurt and he almost dropped the chopsticks in his hand. Since Yang Ming recognized him, Jin Gang couldn't pretend anymore. He looked up awkwardly and said, Isn't this Yang Ming? What a coincidence. Coincidence, your mom. Yang Ming's face changed and shouted, You are pestering Sister Ing again? I met her by chance. Jin Gang said with a sad face. By chance? Yang Ming obviously didn't believe it. It was really a coincidence. Jin Gang quickly explained, When I came to eat noodles this morning, I saw Xiaoying sitting here. I admit that I wanted to get close to her so I sat here. But it was really a coincidence. Yang Ming, don't make it difficult for him. He's telling the truth. After all, they were colleagues. Xiaoying didn't say anything bad about Jin Gang. Yang Ming nodded after listening. He said to Jin Gang, Okay, get out of here after you finish eating. You still owe me a bicycle. Jin Gang had an urge to cry. Why do you still ask me for a bicycle? However, he didn't dare to refute. Yang Ming was glaring at him from behind. He quickly put the noodles into his mouth and accidentally stuffed a chili into it. It was so spicy that he coughed and tears came out of his eyes. Jin Gang wiped his tears. He didn't care about eating and fled. Wang Xiaoyan looked inexplicably. Yang Ming, how did that person offend you? This guy was the PE teacher in my high school. He was a pursuer of Sister Ing. When he saw that Sister Ing gave me a private tutoring class he was upset. So he found two punks to trick me and smashed my bicycle. Yang Ming was angry when he thought about it. Motherfucker. That was my poorest day and he even smashed my bicycle. Wang Xiaoyan listened and secretly clicked her tongue. After offending Yang Ming, can this person still sit here and eat noodles? It's a miracle. Wang Xiaoyan naturally didn't know that Yang Ming had nothing to do with assassins when he was in high school. My relationship with Yan Yan is very good. I wanted to find an opportunity to introduce you to each other. I didn't expect you to be familiar with each other before me, said Xiaoying. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. He didn't understand Zhao Ying's thoughts, but there were some misunderstandings. Qin Mengyan was very resistant to Xiaoying. Although the relationship between Yang Ming and Xiaoying was somewhat ambiguous, it was very difficult to go one step further. However, he had gotten Zhao Ying's good friend into bed first. This matter was a bit inappropriate no matter how he looked at it. As they were talking, the boss brought a large bowl of noodles and placed it between Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. He said, Large bowl for 2 and egg noodles. But Yang Ming was embarrassed immediately. How could I forget about this? This is fucked up. I didn't want to tell Xiaoying about my relationship with Wang Xiaoyan, but now even if I don't say it, Xiaoying must have noticed something. Sure enough, Xiaoying was stunned. She looked at the large bowl of noodles between Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. Her face showed an incredible and somewhat sad expression. You guys. Xiaoying glanced at Yang Ming and looked at Wang Xiaoyan. She asked faintly. Zhao Ying's heart was full of grievances at this time. She watched the beauties around Yang Ming increase one after another, but her relationship with him was still stagnant. Although the two people were closer than before because of the fake boyfriend and girlfriend matter, they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. As he was about to explain, he felt Wang Xiaoyan kick him under the table, so he quickly shut his mouth. What's wrong with us? Wang Xiaoyan picked up a pair of chopsticks and naturally picked up the noodles in the bowl to let the heat spread out and then asked. You guys eat a bowl of noodles? Xiaoying hesitated and finally asked. Otherwise, she would always feel uncomfortable in her heart. Regardless of the current relationship between Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan, Xiaoying had to figure it out to feel at ease in her heart. Are you talking about this? Wang Xiaoyan showed an indifferent expression. I can't eat a small bowl and Yang Ming can't eat a small bowl, so we asked for a big bowl. I will eat a few bites first and then I will give it to him. Zhao Ying didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to explain this, but this explanation sounded acceptable. However, wouldn't Yang Ming dislike the leftovers? Sister Ying, in fact, Wang Xiaoyan has this character. She's careless. I am used to it. Yang Ming knew that Wang Xiaoyan was helping him cover up. So he pretended to be helpless and smiled bitterly. I am used to it. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Ming felt that his foot was stepped on again. He didn't have to think about it. Must be little girl Wang. Zhao Ying listened to Yang Ming and nodded. She was relieved. Indeed, when I lived with Wang Xiaoyan at that time, this girl also had this careless character. Otherwise, she wouldn't run out to open the door for Yang Ming and me in a small singlet. Wang Xiaoyan ate a few bites of noodles and then pushed the bowl to Yang Ming. She said, "You eat. I am full. It is delicious, but it is so spicy. It is so spicy." As she spoke, she opened her mouth and fanned with her small hand. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't dislike her. He took the bowl and ate. The beef noodles, which were originally delicious, were a little tasteless. Yang Ming was full of apology to Zhao Ying. He always felt that he was sorry for her and his mood became a little depressed. Chapter 955. Although Zhao Ying believed Wang Xiaoyan's explanation, she was still a little uncomfortable in her heart. She had never eaten a bowl of noodles with Yang Ming. Sitting here, she didn't know what to say next. So she found an excuse and stood up. I have to go to school. You guys eat first. I'm in a hurry. Do you want me to send you back later? Asked Yang Ming quickly. No need. I'm taking the subway. I have a monthly card. Zhao Ying shook her head and made her expression look normal. I'm leaving first. You guys eat slowly. Sister Ying, it's fine. Wang Xiaoyan waved to Zhao Ying and said. Zhao Ying nodded and left the noodle restaurant. Ai. Wang Xiaoyan sighed. She picked up the chopsticks from the table and reached for Yang Ming's bowl. Let me eat 2 more mouthfuls. You, how can you eat so much? There are so many noodles. Why are there only so few left? Yang Ming pushed the bowl to the middle and said, Thank you for just now. Thank me for what? Wang Xiaoyan shook her head. Sister Ying likes you. I don't know what's so good about you. Sister Ying likes you. And you chase others so closely, but I don't see you chasing Sister Ying. Who am I chasing so closely? Yang Ming sweated. He had always been playing hard to get. For example, me. Wang Xiaoyan said naturally. She didn't feel embarrassed at all. You? Yang Ming suddenly remembered what Wang Xiaoyan said yesterday. He suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In fact, that was really a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? You don't admit it? Wang Xiaoyan was somewhat disdainful. But it's up to you. It doesn't matter whether you admit it or not. She didn't care, but Yang Ming did. Yang Ming didn't want to be misunderstood by little girl Wang. The original thing was actually like this. Didn't you just drive Li Yixuan away that day? How do you know? Wang Xiaoyan thought about it and was suddenly stunned. She didn't understand how Yang Ming knew. The flowers were actually given to you by Li Yixuan. He couldn't give it to you, so he asked me to give it to you on his behalf. Those words were actually said by him. He asked me to repeat it. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Really? Wang Xiaoyan. Yang. I don't love. Yang Ming sneered in his heart. When you find out that you can't extricate yourself from love, you won't say that. But Yang Ming obviously wouldn't say much now. You're right, so do you think I still need to lie to you? Yang Ming shrugged. After that, you sent me flowers every day. Don't tell me you also sent them for Li Yixuan? Wang Xiaoyan sneered. Your name is written on it. Send flowers every day? And my name? No way, right? Yang Ming widened his eyes and looked at Wang Xiaoyan incredulously. Really? You didn't make a mistake, right? In your words, do I need to lie to you? Wang Xiaoyan replied to Yang Ming. Wait. Yang Ming suddenly thought of something. Motherfucker. That flower shop must be their doing. I ordered the flowers with Li Yixuan. Did they send the wrong flowers? Thinking of this, Yang Ming quickly told his guest to Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's explanation. It didn't seem to be a lie. He was a little confused. So, you didn't pursue me? Of course not. I just came back from Macau. I have a lot of things to solve. How can I pursue you? Yang Ming said helplessly. Damn. After Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words, she didn't know whether to cry or laugh. After a long time, it was a big mistake. The whole thing was a misunderstanding. I thought that Yang Ming pursued me. When I thought of what I said before, my face suddenly became a little hot. It's really shameful. However, on the other hand, the benefits were that Wang Xiaoyan had Yang Ming joining her, and she was full of confidence in her life. She felt that she could control her own life. Forget it. I will let you off easy. Thinking of the things that happened in the car with Yang Ming yesterday, Wang Xiaoyan said with a red face. Hee, but I found that I really like you now. Yang Ming said. Wang Xiaoyan rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. I really can't see through you. If I didn't experience it personally, I wouldn't associate you with the person in Macau. Does life need to be changeable? Aren't you the same? Yang Ming smiled and said, if I didn't see you in Macau, I would have thought that you were a delinquent girl. Who is a delinquent girl? Wang Xiaoyan heard Yang Ming say that she was a delinquent girl, and suddenly she was a little anxious. If you are not a delinquent girl, then why do you have a butterfly tattoo on your butt? Yang Ming asked. That is, this was a family secret. Wang Xiaoyan naturally wouldn't tell Yang Ming easily. That was tattooed by my family when I was young. It has nothing to do with me. Besides, how did you see it? It was so dark in the car yesterday. I have seen it before. Yang Ming thought Wang Xiaoyan's family is perverted enough. They have nothing to do with tattoos for their children. You peeked at me? Wang Xiaoyan frowned. Peeking my ass. Once I went to Zhao Ying's house, you didn't wear pants. I saw it. Yang Ming said. Really? Wang Xiaoyan couldn't remember. He was always careless. After taking a shower, she often walked naked in the house, but that was also because there was only one girl in the house, Zhao Ying. There had never been a man. How would she know that Yang Ming would suddenly appear? As for when Yang Ming saw it, Wang Xiaoyan had no impression. Anyway, when Yang Ming came, her image was not good. Zhao Ying walked out of the noodle house, but she still couldn't let go of Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. Even if Wang Xiaoyan explained it, Zhao Ying still felt uneasy. Zhao Ying hesitated for a moment, but then turned and walked to the window of the noodle house. She hid and watched the scene in the noodle house. When she saw Wang Xiaoyan pick up the chopsticks to eat the noodles in Yang Ming's bowl after she left, and the scene of the two people teasing each other, Zhao Ying's heart broke in an instant, and tears fell uncontrollably. She couldn't help it anymore. She turned and walked away quickly, leaving only a trail of sparkling tears. There was no need to doubt anymore. The relationship between Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming was not as simple as they said. Zhao Ying was not a fool. She also knew Wang Xiaoyan's character. Although this girl was a little careless, she was a very picky and clean person. This could be seen from her bathing every day. And Wang Xiaoyan would definitely not eat the food that others had eaten. If Yang Ming didn't dislike her and ate her leftover noodles, it would make sense. But Wang Xiaoyan continued to eat Yang Ming's leftover noodles, which couldn't help but explain something. Zhao Ying had some resentment and some remorse. Why couldn't the relationship between Yang Ming and her be closer? Was it just because she was not proactive enough? But how could she take the initiative? She asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend, and there was occasionally a little ambiguity between the two of them. Wasn't that enough? Did she have to shamelessly chase after him every day? For a moment, Zhao Ying was a little confused. Her own happiness and her own love were all in a mess because of her hesitation on that summer's moonlit night. She thought that when her mother came to Songjiang, she could use the time when he pretended to be her boyfriend to take the relationship between the two of them further. Indeed, the relationship was closer than before, but it was far from the point of being intimate. Zhao Ying dragged her heavy steps and walked in the direction of the school. Her declining figure gradually went away. Last night, Wei Jin had sex with Sister Gu several times before he vented the anger in his heart. Zhou Ruoguang had left the resort. Wei Jin didn't know where he went, and Wei Jin was too lazy to care about him. This time he wanted to avenge Zhou Ruoguang, but not only did he not get revenge, but he was also beaten to the bed and couldn't move. It was better that Zhou Ruoguang left so that he wouldn't be embarrassed when he saw him. And Sister Gu, as Zhou Ruoguang expected before, did not say anything about being raped by Zhou Ruoguang. Because Sister Gu also understood Wei Jin's temperament. If Wei Jin knew about this, he would definitely not spoil her as much as he did now. Sister Gu was not a fool, and she was not a pure girl. This kind of thing was nothing. In the Immortal Resort in another room, Wei Dikang's face was gloomy. Sitting next to him was the general manager of the Immortal Resort, Sui Yuemin. Yang Ming, do you know the background of this kid? Wei Dikang asked Sui Yuemin. I'm sending someone to investigate, but there is no reply yet, Sui Yuemin said carefully. After all, Wei Jin had an accident at his Immortal Resort. He couldn't say that he had no responsibility at all. Moreover, the future decoration and maintenance of the Immortal Resort depended on Wei Dikang. He was naturally very respectful at this moment and didn't dare to have the slightest neglect. Humph, how dare you hit my son? Wei Dikang said in a cold voice. No matter who it is, I want him to pay the price in blood. Yes, President Wei, but this Yang Ming seems to know Brother Long. Sui Yuemin had to remind Wei Dikang. Brother Long? Which Brother Long? Wei Dikang asked. It's Tian Long from Donghai. Sui Yuemin explained. Tian Long? That's in Donghai. Songjiang isn't a place for him to speak. Wei Dikang said disapprovingly. In the past few years he had relied on underworld means to start his business. His status had risen and he no longer put many people in his eyes. He thought that he was already very badass in Songjiang. Sui Yuemin still wanted to say something, but he hesitated and closed his mouth again. Since Wei Dikang didn't care about Tianlong, why should I say more? Chapter 956. Wei Dikang's face was gloomy as he waited for the results of the investigation. Sui Yuemin didn't dare to talk. He sat aside and accompanied Wei Dikang. Wei Dikang lost 2 generals in one day, and his son was beaten black and blue. If Wei Dikang wasn't angry, then there would be a ghost. Although Wei Dikang had no evidence to prove that Zhou Xiaoming was also beaten by Yang Ming, it was probably the case. Wei Dikang's connections in Songjiang were quite wide and he had many subordinates. Not long after, there was news of Yang Ming. Looking at the information about Yang Ming that was sent by his subordinates, Wei Dikang suddenly frowned. Yang Ming himself was nothing. He was just a freshman at Songjiang Industry University. He founded a jewelry company with his classmates. The scale was not bad, but his assets were not many. These were nothing in Wei Dikang's view. What caught his attention the most was the background of Yang Ming's family. Yang Ming's father, Yang Dahai, was originally an ordinary worker in the Songjiang bus factory. At the beginning of this year, he suddenly became a force to be reckoned with. Not only did he acquire the original Songjiang bus factory, but he also cooperated with many large heavy industry companies in Europe. Not only did he produce auto parts, but he also invested in the production line of helicopters. He suddenly became the chairman of a large group. In this way, Yang Dahai had also become a celebrity in Songjiang. If he touched Yang Ming, there would be some trouble. However, Wei Dikang was not discouraged. Wasn't he also a well-known figure in Songjiang? Moreover, his relationship and power in Songjiang were already deeply rooted. He didn't believe that Yang Dahai would have any connections in just 2 months. As a matter of fact, he was the vice president of the Songjiang Chamber of Commerce. If he contacted other companies in Songjiang to squeeze out Mingyang heavy industry, then he would suffer. Therefore, Wei Dikang didn't care too much. Since you touched my son first, then it's not a big deal for me to touch your son. Of course, Wei Dikang would not immediately find someone to beat up Yang Ming again because it was unrealistic. Now it seemed that Yang Ming's men must have a lot of thugs. Otherwise, Zhou Xiaoming would not have been intercepted and seriously injured on the way here. Since there was no advantage in this regard, Wei Dikang intended to use other ways to attack Yang Ming. Thinking of this, Wei Dikang dialed a phone number. Du Laolu, I am Wei Dikang. I need you to do something. Come find me at the Immortal Resort in half an hour. Du Laolu was one of Wei Dikang's contractors. He was a convict and was very appreciated by Wei Dikang. This was because this fellow was ruthless and could settle things. As long as those workers who came to ask for their pay were handed over to Du Laolu, they would definitely not dare to cause trouble again. Du Laolu dared to do anything. Beating the workers who asked for their pay was a small matter. The most ruthless time was a few days ago when he pushed a worker who asked for his pay down from the scaffolding. The worker's hands and legs were all broken and he was still lying in the hospital now. At that time, the family's family members came to make trouble and prepared to file a lawsuit against Du Laolu. As a result, Du Laolu called a group of people and directly went to the worker's hometown. After a round of coercion and bribery, the family's family members finally accepted Du Laolu's 600,000 yuan and swallowed their anger. They did not dare to make trouble again. Because Du Laolu threatened them, I have taken more than 1 or 2 lives. If you continue to be cocky, I will destroy your family. Anyway, killing a few people now is a profit. The country people were timid. After being frightened by Du Laolu, they immediately softened. 100,000 yuan was actually not enough to pay for the medical expenses, but when they saw Du Laolu's fierce look, they did not dare to provoke him. After Du Laolu caused trouble, he never asked Wei Dikang to help him clean up. He always solved it himself, so Wei Dikang appreciated him very much. Half an hour later, Du Laolu arrived at the Immortal Resort. Du Laolu was the person Wei Dikang trusted the most besides Zhou Xiaoming and Madman Ma. It could be said that Wei Dikang trusted him more than Zhou Xiaoming and Madman Ma. Otherwise, he would not put Du Laolu in the position of the construction manager, which was also commonly known as the contractor. The profits in this place were much more than those in the demolition. They were not on the same level at all. However, although Du Laolu was a greedy person, he did the accounts very clearly. The amount of money he embezzled was clearly written down. He never embezzled from the construction materials. What he embezzled was the workers' wages, so Wei Dikang was also very relieved. As long as there were no problems with the project and the built house did not collapse, Wei Dikang was satisfied. As for the embezzled money, it was his ability. After the accounts were checked, Wei Dikang generally acquiesced that part of the money was put into Du Laolu's pocket. Du Laolu was also very grateful to Wei Dikang for this. In the past few years, his own assets had exceeded 10 million yuan. He was also one of the well-known figures in society. My son Wei Jin was beaten up. Wei Dikang said straightforwardly. He did not need to hide from Du Laolu. What? Who is so bold to beat young Master Wei? Does he not want to live anymore? When Du Laolu heard it, he immediately shouted, President Wei, you tell me. I will take people to raid his house. This is his information. You can take a look. Wei Dikang handed the materials he had just received to Du Laolu. Du Laolu took the materials indifferently. When he first looked at it, he was still a little disapproving. However, when he saw the identity of Yang Ming's father, Yang Dahai, his face changed slightly. Although Du Laolu was ruthless, he also understood the rules of this society. People like Yang Dahai were not to be trifled with. They were not like those cowardly migrant workers with no background who were easy to bully. How is it? Do you dare to touch him? Wei Dikang looked at Du Laolu's face. How could he not know what he was thinking? So he asked. Du Laolu paused and his eyes suddenly flashed with ruthlessness. He said resolutely, Why wouldn't I dare? If President Wei wants me to touch him, I will touch him. Very good. It seems that I didn't misjudge you. Wei Dikang nodded with satisfaction and smiled. But I don't want you to kill people, but I want you to set fire. Set fire? What do you mean? Du Laolu was somewhat inexplicable. That brat Yang Ming's company. If you should find a chance to burn it down. Wei Dikang laughed insidiously. This is a lesson for him. I don't think Yang Dahai will go against me because of this matter. But if he really wants to go against me, I will teach him a lesson. You will study this matter for the next few days. After doing this, you will find a place to hide first. Don't contact the outside world. I will settle the rest of the things for you, said Wei Dikang. Okay, President Wei, I got it. Du Laolu heard that Wei Dikang just asked him to set fire, so he didn't care much. He often did this kind of thing. It was not a big deal. Then you go first. Wei Dikang waved his hand and said, Be careful. Don't contact me for the next few days. If you are caught on the spot, don't say anything. I will find a way to protect you. President Wei, you can rest assured, said Du Laolu. Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan did not notice Zhao Ying's back outside the window. After the two finished eating, they paid the bill, left the noodle restaurant and got in the car. I have a good junior high school buddy who opened a billiard room nearby. I often went there in high school. Are you free to accompany me to see him? Yang Ming said to Wang Xiaoyan next to him after he got in the car. Go. There is nothing to do anyway. Wang Xiaoyan was also curious about Yang Ming's past. She wanted to know what Yang Ming's life was like. Wang Xiaoyan's path as an assassin was natural. Because of her family relationship, there was nothing special. But for Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan was very puzzled. How could a student who grew up in a normal environment become an assassin? Su Peng's billiard room was not far from here. It took a few minutes to drive there. Yang Ming parked the car at the door of the billiard room and entered the billiard room with Wang Xiaoyan. At this time there should be no one in the billiard room. But after entering they found Su Peng and his wife sitting on one side. On the other side, there was a girl dressed in a very rustic way talking to them. Her eyes were full of tears. Sister Xiaoying, you have loved me since I was a child. You can talk to brother-in-law. Can you help us find a way? The girl wiped her tears sadly. Little Ju, it's not that we don't want to help you, but Big Peng and I really can't help you. Su Peng's wife comforted the girl. Sister Xiaoying, you are in the city. You know more than us. I want to go to court to sue them. Can you help me find a way to hire a good lawyer? The girl looked at Su Peng's wife with hope. Su Peng's wife also came from the countryside to work in Songjiang. She had only stayed here for a few years. How could she know a lawyer? Su Peng was just a small boss of a billiard room. How could he know anyone? Little Ju, Su Peng said, you have signed a private agreement with them. If you want to go to court it will be difficult. Your sister Xiaoying and I really don't know any noble. How can we help you? Little Ju listened to Su Peng's words and lowered her head in disappointment. How could she not know this? But she felt that Su Peng and sister Xiaoying had been in the city for a long time. Their knowledge should be wider than hers, so she wanted to try. However, your sister Xiaoying and I still have some money here. I will give you 20,000 yuan to use first. Your brother's injury can't be delayed. As Su Peng said this, he went to the back room, took out the 20,000 yuan that he had already prepared, and handed it to Little Ju. How can this be? Little Ju didn't expect Su Peng to give her 20,000 yuan at once. This was timely help. Little Ju, just take it. Your brother Big Peng and I have a billiard room. We can make more money. Your family is in an emergency now. Don't bother about this with me, said Xiaoying. Chapter 957. But Xiaoju was still hesitant. After all, 20,000 yuan was not a small amount. She probably heard from the villagers about the income of Sister Xiaoying's billiard room. It was more than 3,000 yuan a month. After deducting the expenses, they could save 20,000 yuan a year. This was a year's savings. No buts. Your brother needs money. Whether you go to court or not, the treatment is the most important. Su Peng said. Su Peng, what's wrong? Yang Ming saw the scene in front of him and couldn't help but ask. Brother Yang, you are here. Su Peng saw Yang Ming and was surprised. He quickly greeted, Xiaoying, pour a cup of hot water for Brother Yang. It's cold enough today. Don't bother. We just finished eating. It's not cold. Yang Ming smiled and said, Su Peng, why are you being so polite with me? Su Peng didn't say anything, but Su Peng's wife Xiaoying was moved. The last time Yang Ming came, his strength was very powerful. Even the little punks on the street were scared away. It was definitely not simple, so she hesitated and said to Su Peng, Big Peng, can you let Brother Yang think of a solution for Xiaoju? Su Peng glanced at Xiaoying and sighed. Well then tell me. Then he apologized to Yang Ming. Brother Yang, I'm really sorry. You just came and I've troubled you. Su Peng, what are you talking about? We are brothers. What's the trouble? If there's anything, just say it. Yang Ming also heard the outline before, but he didn't know the specifics. Xiaoju, quickly tell Brother Yang about your matter. Xiaoying quickly reminded Xiaoju, Brother Yang is very powerful. But little Chrysanthemum did not expect the situation to take a turn for the better. Although she did not know the identity of the person in front of her, since Sister Ing said that he could help, she had to give it a try. It's like this. With tears in her eyes, Xiaoju told her what had happened to her family. Xiaoju's full name was Wang Xiaoju. Her elder brother was called Wang Dejun. He worked in Songjiang. Last year he worked as a construction worker in a construction company here. He had worked for a year. Seeing that the new year was coming, the boss still delayed his salary. Wang Dejun and a few of his fellow workers went to collect the debt. However, not only did he not get his wages back, but he was also beaten up by a group of thugs hired by his boss. Wang Dejun had a fiery temper. He climbed up the scaffolding and threatened that if he wasn't paid today he would jump off. However, the boss simply didn't buy it. He directly called the thugs and pushed Wang Dajun down, breaking all his limbs. Seeing that their boss was so cruel, the workers who were asking for their wages didn't dare to make a fuss and dispersed. Later, the boss found Wang Dajun's family and gave Wang Dajun's family two choices. One was to settle it privately for 100,000 yuan, and the other was to wait for the whole family to be destroyed. When Wang Dajun's family saw that the boss was so rampant, they didn't dare to go against him openly. They had to choose to settle it privately. He took 100,000 yuan and signed a private settlement agreement. They thought that 100,000 yuan was enough to see the doctor, but they didn't expect that Wang Dajun had many fractures. The surgery fee alone was 100,000 yuan, and it didn't include other hospitalization fees. Wang Dajun's family didn't have money, so they were dumbfounded. In desperation, Wang Xiaoju had to find Sister Xiaoying from the same village. She heard that she found a boyfriend in the city, so she wanted to ask if they had any connections. After listening to Wang Xiaoju's narrative, Yang Ming sighed. He turned his head and whispered to Wang Xiaoyan, "If you encountered this, what would you do?" "Just kill him." Wang Xiaoyan glared at Yang Ming. This guy is asking the obvious. Of course, the conversation between the two was very quiet. Others couldn't hear it at all. "Wang Xiaoju, right?" Yang Ming nodded to Wang Xiaoju and asked, "You tell me first. Why do you want to go to court with the boss?" Let him get the punishment he deserves," Wang Xiaoju said with her head down. "Is it just punishment?" Yang Ming looked at Wang Xiaoju's panicked look and smiled. "Do you think that the compensation of 100,000 yuan is not enough, or do you really want him to go to jail?" Wang Xiaoju hesitated and said, "It's not enough money. The medical fees have been spent 100,000 yuan, and my brother hasn't been discharged yet." After that, she went to the boss and asked him for the medical fees, but the boss said that she wouldn't get a single cent. Wang Xiaoju didn't want to cause trouble, but now her brother was in urgent need of money. Otherwise, he would be in danger of paralysis. The boss didn't pay, so she prepared to go to court. "What company?" Yang Ming nodded and asked. There were too many cases of arrears of workers' wages and hiring thugs to injure workers. Yang Ming couldn't manage it all, but since Wang Xiaoju found him through Su Peng's relationship, Yang Ming decided to help her. Yang Ming didn't have the leisure to go to court, and he wasn't familiar with this procedure. After all, he wasn't a lawyer. But it was a piece of cake to extort 1 million yuan from the company. "It's called Dekang Real Estate. My brother works in Dekang Construction Engineering Company, Limited under Dekang Real Estate." Wang Xiaoju listened to Yang Ming and felt that there was hope. "What? Dekang Real Estate?" Yang Ming suddenly froze. "Can't be, right? Dekang Real Estate again? This way, Dekang. I was worried that I couldn't find a reason to deal with you. Now I have one." Wang Xiaoju saw that Yang Ming was stunned. She thought that Yang Ming was familiar with the people of Dekang Real Estate. She was sad. "It seems that I have no hope this time." But she heard Yang Ming say, "Dekang Real Estate? That's great." "Great? What's so great?" Wang Xiaoju was inexplicable by Yang Ming's words. Su Peng and Xiao Ying also had strange expressions on their faces. "I will take care of this matter for you," Yang Ming said. "How much more do you need?" When Wang Xiaoju heard Yang Ming's words, she was very excited. "Is the matter solved like this? I begged the boss for a long time, but there was no result. Can this brother Yang in front of me really help me solve it?" "The doctor said that to recover I need at least 50,000 yuan," said Wang Xiaoju. 50,000, right? Yang Ming nodded, then took out his mobile phone and dialed Bao Sonli's number. "Brother Yang, good morning. What can I do for you?" Bao Sonli's voice was very energetic. It seemed that he had a good rest last night. "Do you have Wei Dekang's phone number? Help me check it and tell me," Yang Ming said. "Okay." Bao Sonli took the phone book and flipped through it. He found the phone number of Dekang Real Estate's Wei Dekang and read it to Yang Ming. "Brother Yang, his phone number is 139. "Okay, I got it." Yang Ming wrote down Wei Dekang's phone number. "Brother Yang, is Wei Dekang this old guy not reconciled? Do you need me to bring people?" Bao Sonli also knew what happened yesterday. He knew that Zhang Penbai's people beat up Wei Dekang's underling Zhou Xiaoming. "Not now. I will call you when I need you," Yang Ming said. After hanging up the phone call with Bao Sanli, Yang Ming called Wei Dikang directly. After the phone rang 3 times, Wei Dikang picked up the phone. Oh. Wei Dikang? I am Yang Ming. Yang Ming said directly. Wei Dikang was silent for a while and then his angry voice came. Did you hurt my son? Let's not talk about this first. Now I will give you a chance to repair the relationship with me. I heard that a construction company under you is called Jing something. He pushed a worker who was asking for pay down from the scaffolding. I know this worker. Let's do it this way. You let him bring 3 million yuan and this matter will be settled. Yang Ming said. Before Wei Dikang could speak, Yang Ming said a lot, which made Wei Dikang somewhat inexplicable. In the end he finally understood the meaning of Yang Ming. This guy is calling me to help others get compensation? Little bastard, what the fuck are you? Wei Dikang was furious. He didn't expect that this Yang Ming didn't put him in his eyes. How could Wei Dikang not be angry? He almost dropped the phone. You wait for me. We are not done with my son. I say, Wei Dikang, opportunities are equal to everyone. I have already given you a chance. If you don't cherish it, don't blame me for not reminding you. Yang Ming hoped that Wei Dikang wouldn't agree. If Wei Dikang agreed readily, how could Yang Ming find fault with him? Fuck off. Wei Dikang hung up the phone. Next to him, Wang Xiaoju also saw that the person on the other side of the phone didn't agree. She said, Brother Yang, you don't need so much money. 50,000 is enough. When Yang Ming said 3 million, Wang Xiaoju was shocked. How many times did it suddenly increase? Hehe, you can rest assured. Don't look at how arrogant this Wei Dikang is now. In a few days I won't accept the money that he is rushing to give me. Yang Ming sneered and said to Wang Xiaoju, which hospital is your brother in? I will ask someone to arrange it for you. Before Wei Dikang's money is in place, the treatment can't be delayed. As for Su Peng's 20,000 yuan, you don't need it. The city's first people's hospital. Wang Xiaoju listened to Yang Ming's tone and knew that Yang Ming was not simple. How could he be simple if he dared to talk to the boss of Dikang Real Estate like this? After Yang Ming listened, he took out his mobile phone and called Bao Sanli. He asked him to arrange that there was a patient named Wang Dajuan in the city's first people's hospital. Bao Sanli naturally immediately went to handle it. It didn't take long for Wang Xiaoju's family to call. They happily told Wang Xiaoju that Wang Dajuan had been transferred to a high-class ward, and the medicine was also good. Wang Xiaoju thanked Yang Ming, but Yang Ming smiled and said nothing. He was thinking about how to use these things to get Wei Dikang's company. Chapter 958. After Xiaoju received the good news that her brother was transferred to another ward, she rushed to the hospital to take care of her brother. On this side there were only Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan, Su Peng and Xiaoying left. Su Peng, have you thought about what I said to you before? Yang Ming was naturally referring to letting Su Peng give up the billiard room in front of him and do a bigger business with him. Brother Yang. I'm sorry. Su Peng hesitated and said, I think it's good now. It's a blessing to live a peaceful life. Although the previous life was comfortable, it was too hard and the risk was too high. Moreover, Xiaoying just came out from her checkup. She is pregnant. Do you think Li Dagong is not doing well now? Yang Ming sighed and was a little dumbfounded. I'm not asking you to mix in the underworld but to do some big business. Are you willing to stay in this billiard room for a lifetime? Li Dagong is indeed doing very well, but I don't think it's bad now. 3,000 a month. It's a little less, but it's enough for a family. Can still save some. Besides, it's not enough compared to the top, but it's more than enough. I earn more than many people. Su Peng smiled faintly. Moreover, after Brother Yang brought people here last time, the little punks nearby didn't dare to come and make trouble. They come here to play and pay. This is already very good. Well, then I won't persuade you anymore. Yang Ming patted Su Peng's shoulder and said, if you change your mind, you can look for me at any time. Remember, you are Yang Ming's brother. If you have difficulties, just ask me directly. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I know that Brother Yang is good to me. Su Peng smiled honestly. Since Su Peng insisted on his own idea, Yang Ming didn't say anything more. After all, everyone had their own aspirations. Yang Ming couldn't force anything. Indeed, with Su Peng's current income, it was already not bad. Yang Ming's father had more than 1,000 yuan a month, and his mother also had about 1,000 yuan. It was not as high as Su Peng's income. In a few days when Li Dagong is free, let's get together. Yang Ming said. Okay, no problem. Su Peng smiled and said, you and Li Dagong were not in junior high school. Otherwise we would have attended the class reunion. I went to our junior high school class reunion a few days. It was boring. They were a group of hypocrites. Yang Ming couldn't help but smile after listening. Yeah, everyone has grown up. They have their own ideas. After graduating from university they have to face the job market. It's understandable that they are utilitarian. It's not a big deal. Su Peng nodded and said, that's right. But some of them aren't doing as well as I am. Some of them are even envious of me. A few of them didn't get into university and are working part-time outside. They only get 1,000 or 800 a month. They even asked me for advice on how to open a store. As the two were talking, the door of the billiard room was pushed open. Several students in school uniforms came in. Brother Su, is the door open? Give us a table. Xiao Ying, you go and greet them. Su Peng told his wife. Xiao Ying stood up and went to help the students prepare. The students were obviously regulars. They were also familiar with Su Peng's wife. Sister Xiao Ying, give us some drinks and a few bags of noodles. We haven't had breakfast yet. Okay, no problem. Xiao Ying handed the clubs to the students and nodded in agreement. Looking at these students, Yang Ming suddenly felt a little emotional. He thought of himself in the past. Wasn't he like them, skipping class to play? Although it seemed that skipping class wasn't a good thing now, who would listen to advice at that young and frivolous age? He always thought that he could decide his own life and that he was the most powerful. Now it seemed that it was a bit naive and ridiculous. Yang Ming believed that if he didn't have that wonderful opportunity, his life wouldn't be better than Su Peng and Li Dagong. Students from number 4 high school? Yang Ming sighed and asked Su Peng. And a few third-year students from number 4 high school. They spend almost every morning here. In the afternoon they go to the internet cafe. Su Peng nodded. Sometimes when I see them I want to persuade them to study hard, but they are all studying. Who will take care of my business? Sometimes it is a bit contradictory. You think too much. Even if you persuade them they may not learn. Yang Ming smiled and said, if you don't believe me I will try it. As Yang Ming spoke he stood up and walked to the students and asked, I say, you are all students from number 4 high school. It should be class time now. Why are you playing billiards? Class? What class? It's good that you can understand. A student said disdainfully without looking at Yang Ming. If you don't study hard now, what will you do in the future? Will you join the underworld? Yang Ming continued. Hey, why are you so long-winded? Are you done yet? Another student raised his head and raised the cue. Don't spoil our fun. Be careful, we will hit you with the cue. However, after seeing Yang Ming's appearance he was suddenly stunned. The hand that raised the cue was put down. Brother Yang, why is it you? I didn't know it was you. I was a bit rude. Sorry. Ah? Yang Ming was stunned. Do you know me? Yes. Are you from my previous class? Brother Yang, I am Xiao Qiu. Don't you recognize me? When the student saw Yang Ming he said excitedly, you were the one who brought us here in the first place. What? I brought you here? Yang Ming was stunned, but he immediately remembered that when he was in number 4 high school he was the leader of the bad students. He didn't know many people but they knew him. At that time it was boring. He skipped classes all day. These students often followed his lead. When he was bored he brought some people to Su Peng's billiards room to take care of his business. However, Yang Ming couldn't remember who he brought, so when he heard this student he immediately blushed. So it's like this. Hee, then you can continue. The other students also recognized Yang Ming and said, Brother Yang, do you want to play? Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. You can play. I still have something to talk to Su Peng. After being embarrassed, Yang Ming walked back awkwardly. Su Peng and the others couldn't help but laugh. Wang Xiaoyan said contemptuously, Yang Ming, so you were a campus gangster in junior high school? You flatter me. I was just the leader. Yang Ming smiled and said, I was really bored. I asked for trouble. I didn't expect this to be the result of me. Brother Yang, have lunch with sister-in-law here. Su Peng said, I will ask Xiao Ying to prepare a few dishes. Sister-in-law? Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan exclaimed at the same time. They looked at each other and denied. Who is the sister-in-law? Su Peng saw that Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan came together. He thought that Wang Xiaoyan was Yang Ming's new girlfriend. Although he was puzzled, Brother Yang's previous girlfriend was not bad. Why did he break up so quickly and change to another one? But because Wang Xiaoyan was in front of him, Su Peng couldn't ask. He could only ask in private when he was free. He didn't expect it to be a misunderstanding. Sorry, I thought you were Brother Yang's girlfriend. Su Peng said to Wang Xiaoyan apologetically. Your sister-in-law is much better looking than her. You have seen her before. Yang Ming pointed to Wang Xiaoyan and smiled. Wang Xiaoyan glared at Yang Ming and stepped on Yang Ming's foot. This chick's kung fu was good. The strength of her foot was very strong and fierce. Even though Yang Ming was prepared, he was still hurt by her foot. He had to smile bitterly. At this time, Su Peng was somewhat confused. These two people were not a couple. Their actions and tone were somewhat intimate, but they didn't admit it. Yang Ming also said in front of Wang Xiaoyan that she wasn't as good-looking as Qin Mengyan. I don't know what the relationship between these two people is. Don't bother. Xiaoying is just pregnant. It's not good to be contaminated with oil and smoke. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, how about I call Li Dagong and see if he has time? Let's find a place to go out and eat. If he is not free, then we will go. Good. Su Peng nodded, then got up and said to the students who were playing billiards, Xiao Qiu, I will go out with your sister-in-law in a while. Help me take care of the billiard room business. Okay, no problem. Don't worry, Brother Su. The student named Xiao Qiu was entrusted with a heavy responsibility. He was very happy. Young people at this age valued this kind of thing very much. They felt that this was a kind of trust and an increase in value. Xiao Ying made a few bowls of instant noodles in the microwave and gave them to Xiao Qiu and the students. Then she said, Xiao Qiu, today your sister Xiao Ying is treating. It's free of charge. That's great. Xiao Qiu and the others said happily. Yang Ming called Li Dagong. Li Dagong had just arrived at the company. Yang Ming told him about the situation here. Li Dagong immediately said that he would come over immediately. Li Dagong, this kid is doing quite well. In the company he can ask for leave just like that. Su Peng was a little surprised. Probably. Yang Ming said in his heart. This was naturally related to him, but he didn't say much. After more than 10 minutes, Li Dagong came to Su Peng's billiard room. Da Peng, Brother Yang, I'm here. You brat, you came here dressed like a dog. Don't you feel awkward? Yang Ming looked at Li Dagong's white-collar dress and said with some amusement, this doesn't seem to be a place for white-collar workers, right? You called me in a hurry. I'm already at the company. I can't go home and change clothes, right? Li Dagong said with a smile. Anyway, we brothers have a good relationship. It doesn't matter. Chapter 959. Xiao Qiu and the others also knew Li Dagong. When they saw Li Dagong coming, they called Brother Li and Gang. Li Dagong had already seen Yang Ming's two girlfriends, so he didn't feel strange when he saw Wang Xiaoyan at this time. Brother Yang was a badass person. Li Dagong had long been accustomed to it. However, this Wang Xiaoyan was a bit familiar. Li Dagong thought about it, but he didn't quite remember. He thought that he had seen her with Brother Yang. Gang, let me introduce you. Wang Xiaoyan, my neighbor and my classmate. Yang Ming pointed to Wang Xiaoyan and said, Li Dagong suddenly remembered and pointed to Wang Xiaoyan. When you bought the house, I was the one who handled it. For Yang Ming's friends, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't be too cold. The identities of the two people had been disclosed to each other. Now was the time to put aside the previous grievances and let Yang Ming help her to strengthen the assassin group. Therefore Wang Xiaoyan tried to be very easygoing. Hello, hee, you still remember me? When Brother Yang said this, I remembered. But at that time you just looked at the house and signed the contract and paid directly. We didn't have much contact, so my impression of you isn't very deep. Li Dagong couldn't help but click his tongue after he finished speaking. Brother Yang's confidant seems to have a lot of value. She bought such a big villa and paid for it without blinking her eyes. I didn't expect you to come so quickly. It's not even noon yet. You can't eat anything in the early morning. Yang Ming said, why don't we do something else first? Yang Ming, why don't you take me to the university? De Gang and I haven't been to university, so we haven't experienced the atmosphere in the university. Xiao Ying also said a few days ago that she wanted to go to the campus to feel it, but there was no chance. Now, with you and your friend, 2 university students, leading the way, we have a legitimate reason to enter. Su Peng suggested. Alright then, let's go. Yang Ming nodded. It was difficult for people who had been to university to understand the feelings of those who had not been to university, as well as their yearning and expectation for university. However, Yang Ming was probably an exception because in the beginning, Yang Ming simply did not have the idea of being admitted to university. However, by chance Yang Ming obtained a special ability and successfully entered university. However, the negative days before the college entrance examination were still vivid in Yang Ming's mind, so he could understand the current feelings of Li Dagong and Su Peng. When Xiao Ying heard that they were going to the university, she was also very excited. She put down the things in her hands and said happily, "Wait, I will change my clothes. At least I should look like a student." "Go ahead." Su Peng was a little amused, but he could really understand Xiao Ying's feelings. Xiao Ying's academic performance in high school was not bad, but she could not continue to university. Instead, she chose to work in the city because of her family conditions. Xiao Ying's family opened a small shop in the village. They usually did not make much money and the family still had to live. It was impossible to pay for Xiao Ying's high tuition fees, so Xiao Ying was forced to drop out of school in her senior year of high school. Although she dropped out of school because of financial reasons, it did not reduce Xiao Ying's yearning for university. Knowing that she would never be able to go to university again in this life, Xiao Ying wanted to go to the university campus and at least feel the atmosphere inside. It didn't take long for Xiao Ying to come out. She had changed into a relatively simple winter outfit. She looked like a freshman. Even Su Peng's eyes lit up. "I didn't expect it. Xiao Ying, you really look like a university student when you dress up like this." Li Dagong smiled. "Come on, I don't look like one when I stand with you. You look like a white-collar worker in society who came to school to hunt for girls." Yang Ming looked at Li Dagong and said sarcastically, "Ah, then there's no harm in hunting for girls. I don't have a girlfriend yet." Li Dagong said indifferently after hearing it. Su Peng explained to little Chiu again, then took out all the money in the bar, leaving only some small change. Then he went out of the billiard room with Yang Ming and the others. After seeing Yang Ming's car, Su Peng was obviously stunned. Su Peng was clear about Yang Ming's family conditions. It could be said that they were not much better than him, but at this moment he had already bought a BMW. Seeing Su Peng's puzzled eyes, Yang Ming was surprised. "Big Peng, didn't the gang tell you about me?" "No." Su Peng shook his head. "Brother Yang, I thought you had already told Big Peng." Li Dagong shook his head and then said to Su Peng, "Big Peng, Brother Yang is now doing really well. I am going to follow Brother Yang in the future. How about you? Are you ready?" Su Peng initially thought that Yang Ming was asking him to join the underworld, but now it seemed that was not the case. How could he afford a BMW when he was in the underworld? To what extent would he be in the underworld? At the very least, he had to be a boss to have this ability. Ordinary street punks, not to mention buying a car, they probably didn't have enough money to play. Just like the few guys who came to the billiard room to find trouble with him, they were all people who didn't have much money in their pockets. They were always thinking of ways to extort money from others. The gang Big Peng has his own ideas. Let's not force him. Let him think about it himself. Once he has figured it out, he will come to us. Yang Ming smiled. Wang Xiaoyan sat in the front passenger seat while Li Dagong, Su Peng and Xiao Ying sat in the back. The space of the X5 was relatively large, so it was not crowded with 3 people sitting in the back. "Brother Yang, you are now. What are you doing?" Su Peng was afraid that the life of fighting and killing would affect Xiao Ying and the children. After all, people with families were very concerned about these things. But now it seemed that the situation was not like this, so he couldn't help but ask. After all, people strive for better things. With a better career, Su Peng was not willing to stay in this small billiard hall. "I opened a jewelry company with Zhang Bin." Yang Ming smiled and said, "Zhang Bin, you should know him. He is my high school leopard buddy. He is quite familiar with Li Dagong, but he doesn't skip class." "Oh, I remember. You used to come to the billiard room with him." Su Peng nodded. "Brother Yang, I'm sorry. I thought you were still in the underworld." "Underworld, hee, how should I say it? There is some connection. Is it business?" "It is more or less inevitable to deal with the underworld." Yang Ming said with a smile, just like you opened a billiard room. You want to do business in peace, but there will always be little gangsters in the society who will find trouble and collect protection fees. Su Peng also acquiesced after listening. Indeed, the situation was like this. If you didn't find them, they would find you. Sometimes, if you want to do a big business, the local underworld will become a resistance. If you don't serve these people well, they will find trouble with you all day long. After all, these people are greedy for money. They can't see others making money. They want to reap without sowing. Yang Ming explained, so if you want to put an end to these fundamentally, you must control the underworld in your own hands. Control in your own hands? How is this possible? Su Peng exclaimed with a bitter smile. But fortunately, Songjiang's boss, Bao Sanli, has a good relationship with me, so we can do what we want to do with peace of mind. Yang Ming didn't say too much to Su Peng. After all, some things in the middle were too confidential. Yang Ming didn't want too many people to know. But Su Peng was a little surprised after listening. How could he not hear the name of Bao Sanli? But he didn't expect that Bao Sanli was a good friend with Brother Yang. Let's do this, Big Peng. Yang Ming and Su Peng's tone wasn't as firm as before, so he said, I have an idea. If you are really interested in the billiard room business, then let's continue. What do you mean? Su Peng was stunned. He didn't understand. We can set up a billiard club or a clubhouse. We can make the business bigger. Don't limit it to now. Yang Ming explained. But that needs a lot of money. Su Peng certainly wanted to do a good business. Who didn't want a bigger business? Hey Big Peng, you don't have money, but Brother Yang does. Li Dugong said with a smile, Brother Yang will pay for you and then you will run the business. The profit will be split in half. Is that okay? Li Dugong knew that Yang Ming didn't care about the money, so he directly decided for Yang Ming and said it. How can this be? Su Peng knew that if he really wanted to open a club like Yang Ming said, it wouldn't work without a capital of millions. This money was basically equivalent to Yang Ming paying for it, and he was just providing the manpower. As the saying went, he was just a worker. How could he ask for half of the profit? What Li Dugong said is actually what I mean. Yang Ming said with a smile, we don't have to be polite. You think about it. If you think it can work, then we will plan it carefully. Don't worry. I can take out 3 to 5 million at once. It won't hurt anything. After Su Peng listened to Yang Ming's words, he was shocked. He originally thought that an investment of 1 million was a big number. He didn't expect Brother Yang to invest 3 to 5 million to do this. It would be a lie to say that Su Peng wasn't tempted, but if he didn't do it well and lost Brother Yang's money, what should he do? Although Brother Yang certainly couldn't blame him for this, he didn't feel good in his heart. Xiao Ying on the side was even more shocked. I didn't expect that Big Peng had such a powerful friend and they were good brothers. Why didn't he mention it before? Okay, then I will think about it. Su Peng nodded seriously. He also understood Yang Ming's intention. Yang Ming was actually helping him. Otherwise, Yang Ming would definitely not be interested in investing in a billiard club. Chapter 960. In the spring semester, the university usually started around February 25th. It hadn't started yet, but some graduate students and doctoral students with projects had already arrived at the university in advance. Therefore, the university didn't seem to be deserted. Of course, there were also some young student couples in love who missed each other, so they returned to the university early. They took advantage of the time when there were no classes to have a good time. Of course, this was aimed at students who lived in other places. For people like Yang Ming and Qin Mengyan, they didn't need to do so. Yang Ming's car had a campus pass, so he could drive the car directly. In the beginning, his first pass was made by Lu Weishan, and it was placed in Zhang Bin's car. Later, when it was time to change the pass at the end of the year, it was done by Yang Ming himself. As a result, he found out that a pass had to be paid 200 yuan. At first, he thought it was free. Now that he thought about it, Lu Weishan was really good to him. At that time, he didn't recognize Lu Weishan as his godfather. He just rented Lu Weishan's house. Not only did Lu Weishan not ask for rent, but he also paid for a pass and access card for him. Thinking of this, Yang Ming was really a little emotional. It could be said that he met a lot of people around him, and that was how he achieved his current career. What's going on in front? Wang Xiaoyan pointed to the front and said. The car just drove into the campus path, but they suddenly found that the road in front was blocked by a group of people. These people were all students and they were watching something. Yang Ming and others were far away, so they couldn't see what was going on in front. Of course, Yang Ming could use his special ability to find out, but it was a bit of a fuss to use his special ability for such a small matter. Yang Ming didn't want to be a person who relied on his special ability for everything. So he parked the car on the side. 5 people got off the car and prepared to see what was going on. Could it be a gang fight? Li Dagong said casually. It shouldn't be. Yang Ming shook his head. A large-scale fight in the university? Is like a joke. The next day you would be expelled or given a demerit. Just as the 5 of them stepped forward, a boy in sportswear came over and gave them flyers. Yang Ming and the others took the flyer and read it. So that was what happened. A while ago there was a Thai boxing champion who claimed that Chinese Kung Fu was worthless and that he could defeat Chinese Kung Fu with absolute superiority in the ring. Not long after this news came out, Songjiang Industry University received a notice of a Thai university's martial arts invitational tournament. The campus boxing team of a Thai university was preparing to travel to Songjiang City, so they sent a challenge to the local number 1 Songjiang Industry University. His tone and words were extremely arrogant. After Yang Ming finished reading the pamphlet, he felt a little helpless. Even if the boxing champion was arrogant, he had the right to be arrogant. Whether he could win or not was not something he could comment on for now. But you, a mere Muay Thai club on campus, dared to challenge them while they were traveling. It would be strange if they didn't provoke the wrath of these students. The pamphlet was distributed by the school's martial arts club. This martial arts club had been established for a long time, but most of the people who came to join the club were for the purpose of physical fitness. Few wanted to use Kung Fu to participate in the competition. After the person in charge of the martial arts club received the challenge, he was very anxious. This was related to the reputation of the entire school. If he refused the challenge, not only would the school leaders lose face, but his position as the person in charge of the club would also come to an end. Moreover, what would people from other schools think of them? But to let the people in the club participate in the battle, he felt that there was no chance of winning. After all, since they dared to challenge, they naturally had something in mind. It was impossible for them to come up and die. Therefore it couldn't be helped. President Wang, the person in charge of the club, could only mobilize the students in the school, hoping to make the momentum bigger. It was best to let some capable people in the school sign up. Although President Wang also had an attitude of giving it a try, weren't many online novels written like this? What kind of martial arts master is on campus? What kind of ability master is on campus? What kind of killer or special forces retired and came to campus? Anyway, when he had nothing to do, President Wang liked to read some online YY novels. So at this moment he placed his hopes on the master hidden in the campus. However, this had been advertised for a few days and no one had signed up. After all, although they were angry, many people had not learned martial arts at all. Even the people in the martial arts club were not sure about winning, let alone others. Therefore everyone had a lot of support, but no one tried. Even for those who had ideas, President Wang would not easily agree to let them fight. If they didn't know anything and just had a lot of passion, wouldn't they just be waiting to be beaten up? Yang Ming smiled bitterly twice. This kind of civil challenge, you just ignore them. What else can they do? They can't just come over, right? The other party obviously came prepared, and how could Songjiang Industry University be their opponent? However, what he didn't expect was that after Wang Xiaoyan saw the flyer, she went to the registration place and said, "I want to sign up." The person in charge of the registration was a female student named Zheng Minghua. She was also a member of the martial arts club. The Thai boxing club of a university in Thailand invited both men and women, but she was the only female in the martial arts club. There were no boys who came here to register, let alone girls. In the end, Zheng Minghua had to fight by herself, but she was not afraid. She couldn't easily admit defeat even if she couldn't win. She had to lose with a little backbone. As she was thinking about it, she heard that someone wanted to sign up and it was still a girl. Zheng Minghua was suddenly stunned. She looked up and saw a petite girl standing in front of her. She had some doubts. "Are you the one who wants to sign up?" Wang Xiaoyan nodded and said, "Yes." Zheng Minghua thought that the person who wanted to sign up was at least a big girl, but she didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to be so petite. Can this work? So she quickly said, this competition is very dangerous. No problem. Wang Xiaoyan smiled and said, my name is Wang Xiaoyan. I'm from the east side of the university in the history department. Zheng Minghua saw Wang Xiaoyan's determined expression, so she couldn't say anything more. So she gave Wang Xiaoyan a form and asked her to fill it out. Yang Ming saw that Wang Xiaoyan went to sign up without saying anything. He was stunned and somewhat helpless, so he had to follow her. However, when Yang Ming went over, many people immediately recognized Yang Ming. Most of these onlookers were also martial arts enthusiasts. The battle between Yang Ming and the two presidents of the Taekwondo club, Lu Xiaodong and Li Jiaxing, was still vivid in their minds. So when they saw Yang Ming, they immediately shouted, isn't this Yang Ming? Yang Ming is here. We don't have to be afraid of the Muay Thai club. That's right. Yang Ming cleaned up the Taekwondo club. Why should we be afraid of the Muay Thai club? Support Yang Ming. Come on, Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't expect himself to be so eye-catching. It was a matter of a few months ago, but there were still people who remembered him. When President Wang heard the shout, he also ran over. When Yang Ming fought with the Taekwondo club, President Wang was also present. So when he saw Yang Ming, it was like seeing a savior. He quickly came forward and said, Yang Ming, this time you must sign up and fight for our Songjiang Industry University. Is this forcing me to do something beyond my ability? Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. He didn't want to participate in these things. Because in Yang Ming's view, this was nothing more than a farce. The university's Muay Thai club was probably inflated by the words of the boxing champion. They thought that they were also the boxing champion, so they came to challenge. They didn't know that this was no different from a parrot imitating others' words. At most, when the situation was serious, Yang Ming could secretly run to the hotel where the Muay Thai club was staying and cripple their contestants. Then they wouldn't be able to participate the next day. But now Wang Xiaoyan had already signed up. In this situation he couldn't refuse. After all, when he saw the pairs of happy and expectant eyes of his classmates, Yang Ming couldn't bear it. So he said, well then I will sign up. However, I can't guarantee whether I can win. Great. I am relieved to have you on the stage. If you can't win, then others can't do anything. President Wang was very excited when he saw Yang Ming agree. When is the match? Asked Yang Ming. Around March 15th. What? Is there a problem? President Wang asked. In terms of time, we can discuss it again. We can do special requirements. It's nothing. Then let's do it on March 15th. Yang Ming shook his head. As long as it was not today, there were other things to do today. After Yang Ming casually filled in a registration form, he left with Wang Xiaoyan in a group of cheers. Originally, Yang Ming's interest was not great, but he had no choice but to sign up. It was just a little strange why Wang Xiaoyan took the initiative to sign up, so he asked, why did you sign up? It's nothing. I have some personal grievances with the person named Li Lixin. I just have a chance to solve it. Wang Xiaoyan pointed to the Thai University's participation list on the flyer. Yang Ming didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to sign up because of this. He thought she was doing it for the school's reputation. What does that person do? She is also an assassin. Wang Xiaoyan did not hide anything from Yang Ming. She ruined my business before, so I remember this person's appearance very clearly. Although the name is different, I can be sure that it is her. There were photos and introductions on the contestants' information. Yang Ming looked at the woman named Li Lixin. She was very ordinary. There was nothing special about her. He didn't expect her to be related to an assassin. Damn, then why should I join in the fun? Yang Ming sighed with some regret. If I knew this, I wouldn't sign up. Maybe the others are also with her. You can help me kill them. Wang Xiaoyan said, you're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.